welcome to another Locksmith Late. I'm Jareth Garza, your host with the Locksmith Academy. And we are actually running late, so what an appropriate name for the show. I just got back from programming a Toyota Sequoia. So let's real quick introduce our co-host, Eric Duttweiler, to the stream.
How's it going?
What's up, motherfucker? And our guest today is Malachi. Is it Cunningham?
Cunningham.
Yeah. Malachi, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. So I'm from North Central Pennsylvania. Started locksmithing probably around 12 years ago. Did an apprenticeship at a lock company in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. The guy that owned it, he was awesome. Really into safes. He had his like forensic locksmithing thing that he was called on by like feds and stuff to do that type of thing.
Was he GSA?
Yeah. Dude was a beast. I have a ton of respect for him. Long story short, I worked for him for a while. He had hired a guy before me, and I feel like that guy felt threatened by my presence in the business, and it was probably 5 or 6 years into my apprenticeship. The owner decided he wanted to sell it. And at that point, I had been struggling with drinking, drugs, partying.
Uh-huh.
And the guy in between us, he was kind of right there alongside me. But he would dog me out to the boss and stuff. So eventually our relationship got sour. And I was kind of worthless, wasn't coming to work on time. I wasn't a great employee by any means. Ended up getting fired and packed up, moved like an hour north. I was kind of like, I'm probably not going to do that ever again,
Yeah.
For that lifestyle, like being in an addiction, that whole mess, making fast cash is like, it was hard to do that and walk the straight and narrow. So
that's honestly, yeah. Me and Eric were talking about that. I was waiting on checks from people to pay me for items like these back here. And I was like, dude, this is what it feels like to have a 9 to 5. Like, we're so used to instant money now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, it drives our mentality completely different,
Right on. Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
So we met on the phone, and at that time you weren't exactly a locksmith, right?
No, what I was doing was I worked at a factory for 2.5 years. I was doing electrical soldering LEDs and assembling circuit boards for a company called Trucklight. They manufacture they do military lights. They do lights for freight liners. Like, they're just, if you're driving down the road, you can spot them after you made them for forever.
Uh-huh.
Not forever, but worked there for 2.5 years and was like, dude, I can't sit in this box for another.
It feels like forever, right?
Dude, it was like all I needed though I'd get done work there and I'd go do like side jobs for friends and family and that type of thing that they knew that I had the skill to be a locksmith. And eventually that just kind of spiraled into, there was more of that work than I didn't need to go back into the factory. So I took like my 401k, I took my race bike, sold it, took all my money, put it together, and I bought a Ford Transit Connect and some tools to do, like I say traditional locksmithing, but doing repairing commercial locks, residential stuff, pinning kits, you know what I mean?
Well, let's talk about your entry back into the game, because I was in South Carolina like 4 years ago, I think it was. And I was in South Carolina at a Subway with my friend, and we had just gone, yikes, sorry, a wasp is about to land on my face.
What's your damn windows?
I just ping-ponged him with my shoe. We were in a Subway. We had just gotten back from an IAA doing like 20 cars. And So I'll talk to you, Eric. So we're waiting in line, right? I get a phone call, and this guy is like, "Hey, I see you on YouTube programming car keys and stuff." And I was like, "Oh, it's one of these fucking guys." And he's like, "I'm trying to add a spare key to a Nissan. I think it was like a Pathfinder Xterra, something like that. I can't remember." But he was like, "I bought this tool, and I've seen you use it before, and I'm wondering like how you do it." And I was like, "Well, what'd you get? Did you get the IK820?" He's like, "No, I got the VVDI Key Tool Mini." And I was like, "That's a cloner." You know what I mean?
I had no idea.
Yeah, you were trying to program through the OBD port with a cloner, and I thought it was hilarious. But you were like, "Well, shit, I guess I need to buy another tool." And I was like, "Yeah," because most of the time people will be like, "Fuck it," you know what I mean? I quit. And you were like, "Oh shit, I guess I need to buy another tool." And I recommended the IK820. Did you buy that?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. So, if I remember correctly, it was a 2019 Chevy Silverado.
Okay.
And it took the bow tie key, I think is what they call it. But not only did I have to show up the second time, I had to buy the update for the 2019 plus stuff for the IKEA.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I went into it like I don't know anything about it. The guy that taught me locksmithing was extremely hesitant to touch cars, would not let me do lockouts on vehicles, didn't want to program any car keys. And I'm telling you, like none except for the GM Circle Plus, you know what I mean? Key in, on run, 3 seconds.
Yeah.
That was the only car that I was allowed to add a key to.
Low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I think what had happened, he had a bad experience with sticking a key not accepting with like a Ford system or something. If I remember correctly, I don't remember exactly what the vehicle was, but something happened where no keys worked in the end, set off some type of alarm or immobilized the car. And yeah, he was kind of a Nazi about it, like making us sign, like if we cut a transponder key for somebody, because we would sell them. If we cut them, there was a waiver from like drafted by his lawyer on a little card that we would have the customer sign. And we signed that stated, if you stick this in your ignition, it's you're on your own at this point. You're going to have somebody program it. So didn't do that. And eventually I wanted to unlock cars. I wanted to know about them. My dad had a body shop. I grew up in a body shop, taking door panels apart before I could really do anything. So I knew like the mechanics of how it worked, seeing rods and linkage rods and all that stuff. So I'd moonlight. I'd unlock cars at night. People would come in. We're not allowed to do it, but I'll do it after 5, you know. Well, then I got a side job as a on-call tow truck driver. The guy came in and asked me to work for him. He's like, locks, you can do lockouts and drive the truck. So I just answer the phone, do calls. Yeah.
I didn't know that. So you have a history with tow trucks as well.
Yeah.
So did you ever do any repossessions or anything?
Since I got mine?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that pretty fucking scary?
Yeah. Some were a little sketchy. And then I've had ones where guys were like, this is my ex's and I've been paying for it and I'm not paying anymore. Get it off my property. You know what I mean? Like there's some of that stuff too.
Yeah, that's called a voluntary. Yeah. My friend, he's a repo guy. And since I've met him, like the whole like 2 years we've known each other, there's no way I can do what he does. You know what I mean? There's no way.
Yeah.
People are the most dangerous animal on earth, and he has to deal with the worst. So, you know, it's amazing how people will die for something they've never paid money on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know, like with you seeing the YouTube video, and I saw your video. I forget which one it was, but he, like Eric said, mad scientist. That's what I thought. I saw your desk and it had like, it looked like the stuff I worked around at Trucklight. You know what I mean? Like a massive corporation using like, there's wires all over the place. There were circuit boards and all kinds of stuff. Like I couldn't really fathom what was going on there because I had never touched any of that stuff. But I was like, this guy has to know something. And there was a phone number at the bottom of the screen. I was like, he put it there for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm in the room with my wife. I'm like, fuck it. I'm just got on my phone, walked out, and I'm like, I'll give him a call. But yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go use this.
Did you walk back in like he laughed at me?
No, I just kind of scratched my head. I'm like, man, it's not one programmer operate like it. One programmer doesn't communicate with every manufacturer. You know,
Yeah.
I started the like, oh fuck, man. There's a whole nother like thing that I'm completely ignorant about.
Yeah. And when you called me, I was like, that's what caught me was like, you were like, you're that, and you were like, I don't have what it is that I need. And I was like, no. And you're like, well, what do I need? I was like, well, fuck yeah. You know what I mean? So that was pretty cool. I was literally about to order my sub and I was like, I'll be right back, Steven. You know what I mean? And I talked to you, but it was pretty cool. Like I've seen you go from trying to program a 2019 Silverado with a mini key tool to doing Subaru now, right?
Yeah, man. So just like the towing and doing repos and stuff, met a guy that he was meeting me to pick up a repossession that I had picked up, had been doing it for years, and just like handed me his card. We just started talking. Got to I just feel like I'm really blessed as far as the people that I get to meet in the trade, you know, not that one specifically, locksmithing, like you, you know, to meet somebody that's kind of forthcoming with knowledge, you know, that's like really one of my few pet peeves when it comes to locksmithing is when people are trying to keep other people out of understanding it. Because I'm telling you, even if 100 people wanted to try to be a locksmith, like wanting and then being able to actually go do it and fail and keep pushing yourself, you know what I mean? I know you guys have had to
keep failing over and over.
Yeah.
I tell people fail. Well, it's obviously a proverb that's popular, but failure is a stepping stone to success, you know, and it's you can't learn without failure. If you're not failing, you're not trying. So
absolutely.
Like, what the hell are you here for? I feel locksmithing it's a career where you constantly have to train. You're almost like an athlete, sharpening your skills. Like if you don't stay up on your training or your proficiency, you become lesser of a competitor, you know, in the arena. So it's kind of like people always ask me, they're like, why do you say you're practicing locksmithing? Because it's like lawyers and doctors, you know, it's the same thing. You have to practice to be good. You know what I mean? The game always changes.
Yeah, I could definitely attest to that. After being almost completely out of it for, I'm going to say 2 years, the last 6 months is when I had like built up to get myself out of there. Going into lockout situations. Because after I went to an attorney, had them file an LLC for me, and Google would officially list my business on Google because I did it all myself. I couldn't afford to like pay somebody to do it. I put my own personal cell phone on there because that's all I could afford to. I didn't have a landline and nobody'd answered anyway if I wasn't there. So I was like, okay, my personal number is my business number, is my cell phone, is, you know what I mean? And it started ringing and people were like, can you come unlock this? And I'm like, yeah, I did that. I absolutely think it's a slam dunk. And you get to some cheap, chintzy, reliable Lowe's lock that the tolerances are they're so poor that I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Is this really like, do I really want to do this? I feel retarded, you know? And then just being like, dude, I just remember where I was at when I walked away, and I'm like, it's attainable. I know it is. I remember sitting in a shop having to put locks in vices because no customers weren't coming in. It's like,
I have something to kind of interject real quick. We have another guest. Do you want to meet someone kind of interesting?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
All right, Greg, get ready.
Right.
Hey, Greg, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, dude.
Greg, this is
Can you hear me?
yeah. Have you been drinking?
Oh yeah. I'm at the I'm at our lake house in Seneca, South Carolina. Definitely been drinking.
Well, what's good, man?
Oh shit. I don't know, man. Just been hanging out here with the wife and family and doing lake house shit.
Greg.
So what's up with you guys? I know I'm like jumping in. How long have you guys been on?
Oh, like 10 minutes, maybe.
15 minutes.
I want to introduce you
Okay.
real quick to Malachi. Malachi is a fellow motocrosser, just so you know.
Oh, nice.
Hey, man.
Nice. Yeah. Me and the kids ride dirt bikes. Hang on, I'm on the back patio of the lake house. Let me turn this fan off real quick because it's loud as shit.
Okay. I'm going to pull you off real quick.
Why?
Okay, I'll keep you on. Oh, you look so good. Look at you. Look at you. It's my dude. So Malachi, tell Greg real quick. You what do you do with kids?
So I don't know if you're familiar with the NIPM program, National Youth Project using mini bikes.
I am not. Hang on, I'm trying to get my phone set up, but no, I am not.
So Honda, like the corporation that makes bikes, does this thing or did this thing where they donate a bunch of bikes to guys that start up chapters of the program. And our county had 42 Honda motorcycles, and NIPM closed the doors because I believe the founder had passed away. Our county kept the bikes because Honda donated them completely to us. And I get to instruct 30, I think it's 36 kids we have right now. And they're in children and youth, you know, kids whose parents are struggling, kids that were adopted, grandparents, aunts, uncles are raising them, that type of thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, it's a blast.
So, and you're also a locksmith as well, right?
Yeah. I do that Mondays and Tuesdays during the summer, but I'm a locksmith.
Okay, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, my son's been riding dirt bikes since he was 4. And then I got back into it about the time he was 6. He rides mostly motocross tracks, and I'm a punk ass bitch. I'm a trail rider these days.
Yeah.
But I trail ride on a race bike, but I don't jump too much stuff these days.
Yeah. I feel you. I feel like I'm gonna have to tone it down.
Yeah, it hurts. It takes a long time to recover.
It does.
When it goes bad.
No doubt.
So what other topics were you guys talking about before I joined the party?
Before you so rudely interrupted, right?
Oh, fuck you. You sent me a message.
I totally did.
To join in, so.
We were talking about Malachi and his history. Malachi and I met. He found me on YouTube. I think Malachi, it might have been the LKPO2 video where I was going through LKPO2s.
Right.
I don't know which one it was, but
you're talking about LKPO2 transponders?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and so me and him met, and he was a locksmith for a couple of years, and he took a break and then jumped back into it. And he was discussing how when he got back into it, he learned one tool doesn't program all cars, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, Greg's been in the game for a long fucking time. Greg, what's an old tool that you have that you don't use, but you won't sell?
You know what I used the other day?
T-code.
Nah. I used my MVP Pro to program a remote for a 06 Mini Cooper. Or 07. The one that you have to dial in the numbers that come on the Smart Pro wouldn't do it.
I've never
but
done that.
I still have my original MVP, my MVP Pro. I've got the T-Code Classic that I got from you, Jared,
Mm-hmm.
and I cherish that thing. What was the question?
You've been in the automotive game forever, right?
Yeah, since transponders in the United States came out. Yeah,
Greg, your dad was a locksmith.
I'm second. So, give you guys a little backstory. So, I'm second generation. My dad started Charleston Lock and Safe in 1979, and I grew up in his locksmith shop. Never actually wanted to be a locksmith. I wanted to be a welder and a fabricator. My first job was working at the shipyard as a pipe welder. I worked there for 2 years, and then I went to work back for my dad's locksmith shop. When my dad retired, I bought the business from him, and we're going on 20 years now that I've been running this on my own now.
Wow.
And automotive only.
How long have you been automotive only?
How long has it been automotive? So when I took the business over, it wasn't automotive only. At that point in time, I was still doing a lot of commercial. I was still doing a lot of residential. I was still doing lockouts as well as automotive. The transition to automotive only took place about 8 years ago.
Okay. Are you automotive only, Malachi?
No.
What do you do?
Residential, commercial, and I just started saying yes to safes. I was saying yes to like dumb Centuries, stupid stuff, but I just recently got the magnetic drill press,
From Strong
hammer
Arm.
drill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're doing gun safes because I live in the mountains, Appalachian Mountains, up in Pennsylvania. It's tons of hunters up here. Every hunting season, at least 10 guys call me and they're like, my safe wouldn't open. I need my guns out of it, and I put new batteries in it. It's not opening up. And I'm just like, no. I'm like, I'm gonna go for it.
That's cool that you're a full service. Are you self-employed?
Yeah.
And can I ask you, how did you get into the industry?
I was on a break from college, and I had a situation happen, and I ended up in the emergency room. I got a really bad pain in my stomach. Long story short, there's like a blockage in my intestine. They cut me open and removed like 2 or 3 inches from my intestine. So I was out of work, out of commission completely. My grandma worked at a hospital, so I stayed with her for the 2 weeks I was down. They stapled me shut and shit. And I stayed with her for 2 weeks, and my brother was kind of struggling at the time, and he was taking stuff from my grandma's place. So she said, I called a locksmith. He's going to show up, and I just need you to be here. So make sure he does what he needs to do and gives you a new set of keys. So this guy shows up, and he's like, what are you doing here? There was a lady that called me. I was like, oh, it's my grandma. He's like, why do you live with your grandma? He's like kind of grilling me like I'm I don't know how old I was, 20. Yeah, I wasn't that old. But anyway, he's just like, why are you living with your grandma? I'm like, I'm not. I'm just here because you need to come here and do your thing, And he's like, well, the co-owner of the business just passed away, and we're looking for another guy. You should come down to the shop and check it out. You might like it.
Yeah.
I had like 2 weeks off, so I'd go down to this guy's locksmith shop, and it was cool, man. They were bringing like random shit in there. He was picking open random locks and just they were bringing.
I was trying to get somewhere with better lighting, and then my table fell over. Sorry to interrupt you, but keep going.
They were bringing like safes and stuff into the guy that actually owned it, and he was a beast when it came to safes. I was just like completely mesmerized by this. They showed me how. What?
Did he do manipulation, or was he a real guy?
Yeah, he did manipulation. He had the dialer, the automatic dialer.
Oh yeah.
He had tons of scopes, just all kinds of tools. But I just was like blown away by the whole thing. And that day when they were getting off, he's like, "You should come back tomorrow if you liked it. You know, maybe if you keep coming back, we'll give you a job." And I'm like, I didn't really like school anyway, man. I got good grades, but I went undecided. My dad passed away when I was in high school. I thought I was going to work at a body shop my whole life, and that just didn't work out like that, you know? So I really was had no direction at that point. I'm like, sure, man. Kept going back, end up with a job. And he was like, the last day that when I was going to have to leave Graham's place, he goes, "Hey, we're offering you a job. We're going to give you," I forget what it was, but it was, I just remember my paychecks were like $3 something, almost $400. If I worked a 40-hour week. I'm like, it's a paid apprenticeship to learn this. Yeah, I'll take it, dude.
That's
so
pretty fucking crazy.
It is crazy. They were like,
the only thing, watch the guy, and he was like, "Hey," "Hey, loser, why are you living with your grandma?" And you're like, "Oh, fuck." You know,
why living with granny? Come get a job, fool.
Yeah, come get a job. You know, that's cool.
The only thing that kind of had me shitting was since he was GSA, he did all the like best removable core locks for the federal building in Williamsport. Like he knew all those guys. He was like, "Can you pass a background check?" I was like, "I think so," you know. And at that point, the only stuff on my record was like drinking and fighting, you know, stupid, like dumb shit. And
I couldn't pass the background check, which is why I had to teach myself, you know.
I respect that, man. I do.
Greg, you're muted. You're muted. Unmute yourself.
Can I do that for him? No.
Don't think so.
Wait.
There you go.
There we go. So, one of the things when I meet other locksmiths, it's always very interesting to me to ask that question of how did you get into the industry? Because there's always, locksmiths always have a very interesting story of how they got into the locksmith industry and into the trade. And I always find it very intriguing to hear those backstories. And that's a really cool story as to how you got into locksmithing. That's awesome.
Thanks, man.
When my customers ask me, they're like, "Hey, how'd you get into it?" I tell them, after I escaped prison and stole the warden's car, I realized I was pretty good at this. And they're like, "Oh," like, so it's like 20% think I'm serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm like, I'm kidding. And they're like, "Oh, okay." But, that's typically how for people.
Can you guys see me better now?
I see a little better.
Yeah. The other thing that I think is funny, how many customers have came up to you and been like, "So I know a bank," you know what I mean? Or
oh my God.
Come on. Yeah. Right.
I know exactly where you go with that.
So another crazy story about me, my mom's dad was a bank robber. He robbed a federal bank, did 10 years in federal prison. So my dad's dad never has been in trouble ever. Never, like, he's gotten speeding tickets. The guy's just lived a great life. Good dude, honorable. But yeah, mom's dad robbed a federal bank, escaped from away, hid the money out in the desert. And on his way back, the FBI agents got him in Chicago, shot him in his ass, and took him to federal prison for 10 years. So
did he get his money?
He did get his money. He did. Yeah. Crazy story. And I didn't know about it. Like,
I love an underdog story. Hell yeah. That's fucking awesome.
But yeah, when the boss asked me about the only thing I would have to pass is a background check, he's like, "Yeah, and it's going to be with the FBI agents at the Hoover building." You know, I'm like, I think I'm good, but what if they look at that? And I'm like, disqualified immediately, you know. So he was super, and I realize it now. He was really, really weird about teaching me safe stuff. He guarded all of that knowledge, and I was not like, I didn't have access to anything about it. Nothing at all. So
how do you feel about that right now? Like, do you feel that he made a good call, or do you feel like he denied you an opportunity? Like, do you hold a grudge, or?
No, I don't hold a grudge, because I can understand that, because now that as like a business owner and thinking about taking a guy on, vetting him, I think would take a while, you know.
You asked me that recently, right? About taking an employee on, right?
Yeah.
That's a hell of a thing. And Eric,
so are you a one-man show?
I'm one-man show, and I'm 24 hours a day. I answer the phone.
Okay, so I'm also at this point. I'm a one-man show. Well, during the summer, I've got a apprentice that works with me. But aside from that, yes, I'm also a one-man show. All right, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
Wow. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm very uncandid.
Are you doing emergency stuff too, or do you work specific schedule?
No, I'm banker's hours, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday only. I don't do any emergency services. The majority of what I do is auto auctions, car dealerships, and repossession lots. Yeah,
enough of those. That's all you need.
Yeah, so and that's kind of where I like it, because I don't have to be on any kind of a schedule. You know,
I started the podcast late because I had to make a Sequoia key, 2001. So like, emergency service versus spoiled. Right.
Yeah. Well,
a 20-year company versus like 5-year.
Well, I'm at the lake house, and I've been drinking beer all day and riding on a boat and fucking wakeboarding and shit. So.
Oh, fuck you.
Nice.
Must be nice.
Don't give me that must be nice.
Yeah,
I hate that.
You're so lucky.
Yeah. I hate that too.
You guys never have customers.
So that's basically my business model these days is I do commercial work, but it's for commercial automotive.
Gotcha.
And I love working with cars. I also do diagnostics. I also do module programmings, things like that. So,
hey, Greg.
Hey, yeah.
What's a car that kicked your ass recently? That was harder than it should have been.
What's a car that kicked my ass recently?
Yeah.
2017 BMW X5 M Class.
What happened?
Do we really have to talk about that?
Let's do it.
Was that for him, right?
Yeah, you're correct. I could not read the device in circuit. And and I hot aired the device off, and when I did, I had my air pressure a little too strong, and it blew a device off of the board.
Oh shit!
A component, a capacitor, or something like that, right?
It blew a component off of the board. Yes, correct. And I could not find it. So yeah.
What happened?
Oh, I own a brick BMW X5. That's what happened.
You have anything like that, Malachi? Any car
it's easy to fix, though. You know how to fix that.
He's gonna fix it, but I think
I will fix it, and I will sell the car. However, the fact that this is it's not just a BMW X5; it's an X5M, which has a different engine than it's not a FEM; it's a BDC.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But it's a specific type of BDC module.
Yeah.
And I cannot find the module that I can take the component off of to replace it on this this specific module.
So hear that world. If you have that particular module, you have Greg Fowler by the balls. So reach out to Greg Fowler and sell him a module. And
yeah, so, but hey, I mean, if you're going to play the game, sometimes it happens.
Sometimes you lose. You know?
I mean, it you know, it kind of is what it is. Like, you know, you got to take risks sometimes, and you know, hopefully the majority of the time you come out on top. Sometimes you don't come out on top. Right.
Yeah. You have any stories like that, Malachi? Anything that kicked your ass?
The last one was I've only had a couple moments where I was like clenched, like preparing.
Why don't you talk about that Subaru WRX that you had that was stuck in some kind of weird programming mode?
Dude, that was weird. That was strange.
Subarus are a strange animal.
The thing about that one, it was peculiar. Pulled the module off, took it to
what module? You pulled the BIU out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what it was.
It was a Subaru WRX, if I recall.
A 14, I want to say, or
it was a 14 or 17. I think it was a G transponder.
Yeah, it was a G.
Yeah.
So key turn ignition, not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a keyed ignition.
Yep.
And it was all keys lost, right?
Yep.
So
you go. Hold on, Greg. You go out to the car, and what happens?
I go out with the idea that it's an OBD2 process.
Yeah.
Because any other G chip for a Subaru, I've done that. Just plug in, add the key, and walk away. That wasn't the situation, so I figured out that you have to. I didn't figure out. You told me I could pull that black box off, and I thought, okay. Took that thing apart, pulled the data off the chip.
Did you do it in circuit or out of circuit?
Out of circuit.
Yeah, so it's an MSOP too, for those who are not initiated, which is, I mean, the device will fit, like 5 of them will fit into my fingernail. You know what I mean? They're itty bitty.
Yeah.
So
that thing was so tiny, and I'm used to like the 8-leg.
SOIC8, yeah.
SOIC8.
Yeah. So I was just like, not even looking for that as I'm looking at the circuit board, like, oh my gosh, that thing's so tiny. And then, yeah, you're like, yo, it's this. And I was like, what? All right. So pulled it off, used, started with, I want to say we started with X-Horse using that little surfboard thing.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. PBI Prague. Yeah.
It comes with Prague. Yeah.
It wouldn't read. So then we tried so many times. It wouldn't read. So we put it on, I want to say, I forget what it was called. It's a little silver square. I rarely use that stuff. I only do it when it's like some weird random foreign car.
Jump in as soon as I get an opportunity.
Go ahead, Greg. Jump in.
All right. Do you have the IM608?
I have the 508.
Do you have the emulator?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know on those Subarus, you can read the immobilizer data and generate that emulator.
It was prompting me that I could do that, but only with the H chip. There was nothing that was giving me the option to use the emulator for the G chip.
Okay, I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah,
because I have done it with the G chip on Subarus.
Have you?
With keyed ignition and also proximity Subarus.
Okay. I used it with the
interrupt
proximity.
my podcast again with inaccurate information.
What?
I will find you.
Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to you. No, I'm
Me?
kidding. I'm kidding. Please don't hit me. Please don't.
We're gonna fight next time I see you, dude.
Yeah. We are. So
You'll probably kick my ass, but
I'm gonna pick you up over my head. So Malachi, you went to the car, no program through OBD, all keys lost. You pull the BIU. You contact me. You're like, I don't know what the fuck to do, and I'm like, don't worry. Like EEPROM's an option on that car, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, it's best to do in circuit. And you're like, well, what do I need for in circuit? I was like, the precision probes and AR32. And I don't think you had that, right?
I didn't have. I have AR32, but I didn't have the precision probes,
which was cool. Then I was like, it's no problem. Yeah, out of circuit, you know. But out of circuit's a little scary because you can blow that little fucker off, like gone.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
It's tiny. And so, take us where you left off. You EEPROM'd it. You pulled the bin file. You loaded it to Tango or VVDI.
I loaded it through Tango is what it actually accepted with. We dropped VVDI when I couldn't pull the bin file off of it. I was like, fuck that. And we went to, I still can't think of what the name of the device I was using. It's just a little silver square that's like, I don't even know. It's not very big. CarProg. We used CarProg.
Yeah.
And then took the bin file, added it, used Tango, and then put the thing back together. I drove back to the car because I don't have CarProg. A guy that owns an ECU repair shop that asked me to teach his guys how to cut keys for BMWs lets me use his devices, and he has like everything that I don't have.
He's a friend of yours, right?
Yeah. Super great guy, knows all kinds of stuff. But got back to the car, assembled, put the thing on the vehicle, buttoned it all up, and plug into it. Go to add the key, or go to start the car first, and it does nothing. It does absolutely nothing. So I'm like, what's going on here? So I plug the Autel in, and I'm like trying to get a immobilizer scan, and it's not really telling me anything bad's going on.
So real quick, I'm going to jump in. You contacted me after the EEPROM, and you're like, dude, it's not starting. And I was like, whoa. I was like, what'd you do? You know?
Yeah.
And you were like, shit, I don't know. And so then you started to scan, and then what happened?
I scanned it, and then I went to the add key function as if I already had a working key, and just did that. I took the key that we had already added and just told, I don't know what was missing as far as information, or if it had to do with, I don't know that system like that. So I can't really tell you what happened there, but
whatever happened, you hit the button, and the key that you learned through EEPROM that wasn't working suddenly took. Yeah,
it added the key successfully. And then I took that as a working key, added the second key that I made for him. And because that was the crazy part. He found his
synchronized across different modules.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just a guess.
So,
that's what I would guess. Go ahead, Greg.
Oh, just real quick. I know you're Columbia, Missouri. I know that shit. Where are you from? Or what area are you in?
Are you speaking to me? Pennsylvania.
You're in PA?
Yeah.
He's pointing at his screen like we know who he's pointing
at. I know, right? What part of PA?
I'm in Mansfield, Pennsylvania, north central. I'm like 15 minutes from the New York border, right, like middle of the state.
Okay, I was just in PA last weekend. And you?
I'm in Virginia.
You're in Virginia. Okay.
About 45 minutes south of the district.
The reason I ask is that if anybody asks me if for locksmiths in those areas, that I've got somebody to point them in a direction. I was just in PA last weekend.
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to say thank you to Eric I did not know that he was the gentleman that remotely logged on to my Autel. I was doing like a Tiguan key.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know
Oh, that's right. I
remember
forgot
that.
about that.
Yeah, my buddy got one. I don't remember, but it was his key wasn't. It just continued to say an error message for his key fob, and we were like, okay, well, I'll get you a new one, and we'll add it to the car. Just didn't work like that.
Yeah, I remember Malachi. He mentioned it to me. He was like, who's that guy who helped me with that Volkswagen? I was like, Eric. And he's like, Eric. I'm like, yeah, the guy on the podcast. So now you guys get to meet each other. Eric,
Yeah.
Malachi, Eric. So
Yeah, I totally appreciate that, because that's the only really other one that I really was pulling my hair out and trying to figure it out on my own. Not that car specifically, but a Volkswagen Jetta that was push start. I'm going to say 14.
Too bad.
I thought I lost the ABS code.
Yep.
And I was shitting myself. And
yeah, it's never a bad idea to back up the ABS data.
This was Malachi's first, if I recall. You called me and you were like, what the actual fuck? You know?
This was the first call I had gone on after the servers went down, and I had to do Audi Volkswagen the hard way.
Yep.
And I didn't know it. You mentioned it offhand in a conversation prior, but someone actually called me that had no keys, and I was like, you know what? We're going to try it out. So I went there, and I made a bunch of mistakes. One was that I had poor service and poor internet connection because the car was a little too far away from his house. Yeah. So I was running on a bad connection. That was one. But the second one is that I shut my machine down and didn't complete that process from start to finish, just like the programmer told me to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what year was it again?
2010.
14.
Oh, 14.
Okay, so that's a UDS video cluster.
It was a Jetta wagon, Jetta TDI push start.
Mm-hmm. So
real quick,
you pulled the cluster?
Yeah.
Every time I start up a TDI, I freak out because I think it's an engine knocking because I'm so unused to like sedans and shit being diesel, you know?
Yeah.
For sure. Those are the best cars, man.
Real quick, before we jump off topic, Eric, you had some difficult cars lately. Talk about one that the rookie like doesn't come in contact with. I don't come in contact with shit you come in contact with. I'm pretty freaking good. Malachi, I know he doesn't do it. Like, what do? You do TCM programming, ECU programming, but you've had some vehicles lately that have just been particularly cunty.
Yeah, the most recent one was at most recent one was at Mercedes that we just can't do. It was ML350 and
year.
Yeah.
Year?
2008.
Greg, any experience?
That would be a W164, right?
Yes, W164.
Yeah, what are you talking about? What module are you talking about that you can't program with that?
All right, Greg. Now listen to this.
It was an all keys lost. It was an all keys lost. And so I know the quickest way to get to the data we want is EEPROM. So I popped the radio out. I had the fucking thing out in like less than 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah. They pop out real easy, and you can grab the EIS.
Yeah. Right, that was no problem. I had that in my hands in a part in less than 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I'm going through the VVDI prog, and there's no matching diagram. So I'm like, all right, like this doesn't match my board. So then I go ahead and fire up my 608. There's no diagram in there that matches my circuit board. I'm like, what the hell? So I tried bench method with Xhorse, tried bench method with CGDIMB, Autel. They're all failing. So I'm like, all right, screw it. We're going to put the car back together. I'm going to plug in Autel. We're just going to do straight up OBD. And if it takes a little while, it takes a little while. That's it. I plug it in, and then I go through the password calculation process. And the first thing it tells me is not support all keys lost, this EIS type. I was like,
yeah.
Yep, walk away. So, and then the other one that was kind of
now, can I ask you a question real quick about that EIS? when you would insert your IR reader into the EIS, would it turn?
Yes.
It would.
Yes.
But you couldn't pin it out on the bench?
No.
Using the G-Box?
Nope. Every time I did it, it would say, it gave me a diagram for a G-Box on bench. And every time I did it, it would say, fail to acquire data, fail to acquire data, fail to acquire data. No matter how many times.
I honestly would think that there's something that was up with the server maybe on that particular day, because
I don't know, brother. I have no idea. All I know is like Autel didn't want to do it. Xhorse didn't want to do it. CG didn't want to do it. Nothing would do it with the pinout. Nothing would do it with the cables. I used
Oh yeah. I mean, I totally believe you. I am saying that I have done them.
Yeah, and I've heard that too.
I've done them with VVDI MB, and I've also done them with the IM608 using the G-Box and pinning them up. Right.
Yeah. So
sorry, I'm talking to my dog.
That was an oddball. I don't see a lot of was a freaking smart car. It was a Smart 4.2. Programming that was like 30 seconds with the Autel, but making the damn key was a little weird. I didn't realize. So I went there twice. The first time I went there, I realized I didn't have the leashy, and I was like, crap, I'll just take the lock apart, right? You know, whatever. I've done that a million times, but I wasn't sure how it came out. So I take the 2 bolts out, and I had the 2 bolts out that I needed to have out, but I didn't know what to do next because I was kind of prying on the handle, and it wasn't coming out. So I was like, all right, there must be like one more bolt somewhere behind the door panel.
What
but
vehicle
old
is
lady
this?
is standing over my shoulder. Like her fucking chin is right here on my shoulder watching me. And I'm like, man, if I just break one clip, you know, I'm screwed. So I walked away at that point. I was like, let me get the pick for it and come back.
A Smart for 2?
Yeah. So yeah. I get the leashy. I come back. I leashy it. And I'm like, how the hell do I decode this thing? So I tried to decode it twice. It was unsuccessful. And it was like sweltering freaking hot out. So the old lady finally fucked off and went into the house. So I'm like, yes, all right, she's gone. And Jareth, I had talked to about it. He's like, oh, dude, that car's so easy. Just pull the fucking handle off. Just yank it off. And I'm like,
yeah, the whole handle will come off. Stupid easy.
You have to slide it. You take the 2 bolts out and you slide it.
Right. Once you take the 2, exactly what you said. Take the 2 bolts off, and then it like slides out and unlatches.
Yeah. I didn't realize that at first. And then
Malachi,
I took the lock apart. And then I read all the numbers.
Smart.
I put everything into the machine.
No.
And position number 3, the wafer had a 1 stamped on it. So I cut a 1.
No.
And that wafer standing up like a hard dick. I'm like, man, what is going on here, dude?
Jared,
when I start looking at the machine, and it says, you know, the machine shows like how deep our cuts are. Yeah. And I noticed the number 1 and the number 5 take away the same material, but in opposite directions. So even though it had a stamped 1 on there, I was smart enough to figure out, let me change that to a 5 and then cut another key and see what happens.
Right, because in a smart car, oh my God. Sorry, guys. I've been drinking all day and been on a boat. I cannot remember what spaces it is, but there's 2 spaces in a smart car.
It's the first and last, isn't it?
Huh?
Isn't it the first space and the last space that can be like opposing?
They're inverted.
1, 3, and 6 were going opposite directions, but all of those.
Is it 3 and 6?
Okay, pause real quick. So for the people who have never done a smart car, whenever you do the leashy looks pretty simple. It looks like, okay, I'm picking it, I'm decoding it, everything seems to be lining up. You do a decode, you'll run a fill, it'll be like, okay. And then you'll cut your key, and like Eric said, it won't turn at all. Like it's like, ooh, like hard. Like whenever you're close, the key will kind of turn a little bit. But on these, it'll be like, boom, rigid. And you're like, what the fuck? And so you take the lock out and everything's set except for like 1 wafer. And usually it's like 1 up here and 1 down here because the smart car system or 4.2, whatever, the VA6, for whatever reason, there's some kind of weird rule in play that like a 1 on one side is actually a 5, or it's an opposing cut. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not exactly like common knowledge. So you're like, how the fuck? And then not to mention, like, there's like, if you were to do space and depth keys, there's tons of different cuts and numbers and letters. Like, isn't there like an L designation for a cut?
There's a Q and an H.
Yeah, and you're like, what the hell? You
I
know?
also have never been able to program just a transponder key
Remote
to a
head only.
smartphone too.
Yeah.
Huh?
Remote head
key only.
Yeah.
I've never tried. I've only done 2. One was a spare, which they wanted a remote, so I did that. And then this lady, she was getting a remote head key because that's what I had in stock.
Nobody
I imagine.
Malachi,
I imagine you could clone it.
Smart.
What?
Who manufactures a Smart 4.2? Don't answer, Greg.
Mercedes.
Yes. And that's one thing is like people will call and be like, oh, you know, it's just a smart car. And I'm like, actually, it's a Mercedes, you know?
I love that you're like, don't answer, Greg.
I know you're going to do it because you taught me that. You're like, oh, yeah, you know. So it's a Mercedes.
I'm a fucking car guy.
Yeah.
Me
like,
too.
Cars are my thing. I love race cars. I love racing. I love that. That's my jam.
Yeah,
if
so anyway, that worked out okay after all that debacle. But fortunately for me, the X-Horse key machine, all the numbers, you know, when you go to put in the bidding, they have the amount of material they take off. So that's how I was able to figure out, like, even though this is stamped as a 1, I noticed the 5 removes the same amount of material. So I was like, well, let me click that. And then I noticed the picture, you know, my cut went from right here to down here, and it was the same amount of material taken off, just the opposite direction. So that's
what X-Horse machine are you using?
The Condor Mini 2, I think it's called.
Okay.
The newest, latest, and greatest crap.
You got the touchscreen on the top?
Yeah. I like it. It's a pretty good machine.
What do you use to cut keys, Malachi?
For side mill or
high security or whatever.
I think the Dolphin. It's the
battery powered one with no screen.
Yeah. I'm running my phone to do it.
Yeah.
What about you, Greg?
What kind of?
My primary machine is Ninja Laser.
Do you still have like a Futura and Gymkhana and all of that?
Yes, I have. So in storage, yes. So my primary machine is the Ninja Laser. In storage, I do have a Futura Auto. I have a Condor Original. I have a Gymkhana in storage. And I also have some other machine. I can't think of right now, but I've got some backups for my backup.
So why did you choose the machine that you have in your van versus the other ones?
So the reason that I chose the machine that I have in my van is because of some of the volume that I do. I like how fast the Ninja Laser is.
It's one thing I wish mine was faster.
It is the Ninja Laser. If you ever see somebody cut like a Honda key, external 4-track, and guys, I'm slightly drunk right now, so forgive me if I can't remember all the key blank names. I'm at my lake house. But if you ever see somebody or like a Ninja Laser cut one of those keys and how fast it cuts them, you'll be like, holy shit.
Yeah, I show people.
I've seen how fast your machine cuts Honda in Jarrett's videos.
Yeah, and in my classes that I teach, people are like, God damn, what is that? And I'm like, that's Greg's machine, you know?
Yeah.
You used to do IAA, and you'd have like a 30 car, list, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't just standard like Honda, this or that. You'd have Volvo, Volkswagen, Mercedes, BMW, and so you had to have an arsenal to attack, just a wide range of opponents.
Yeah, I do have a I do also have a Dolphin. What's the little battery powered one that I keep under my workbench in case of a failure, like in case my machine breaks down or something, that I have a backup that I can go to. But I like the Ninja Laser just because it's fast. It's quick.
I have a Dolphin as a backup now, but it was my primary machine. And then, one of the sensors went bad, and it was the only machine I had at the time for a robot. So in a panic, I was like, well, I got to get something like now, and then I'll fix the Dolphin. So I did. I ordered the Condor. I was like, well, this is going to be my primary machine in the van. And now I got the Dolphin. It usually rides around in one of my other cars, my girlfriend's car or whatever. If we go do a single job here or there, we can just take one of the cars.
Hey guys, I'll be right back. I got to go take a piss and grab another beer, and I'll be right back.
All right, I'm gonna pull you away for a second. My backup machine is a frame and Sidewinder too.
That's what I learned on.
Yeah, so come at me. You know what I'm saying?
I love that machine. I have mine mounted in my van.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, I'm like, yeah, if ever there's zombie apocalypse, EMP or whatever, like I can power a bicycle if I need to and cut a key. Because it's Sidewinder. What is it? It's not software, it's hardware because it's rods. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I absolutely love just the fact that it's never going to die. You know what I mean?
Have they expanded like the versatility of it as far as how many manufacturers now? Because I remember when it came out, we got the package of like it would do a tip key, it'd do a bunch of different stuff, and we got all of them. And when I thought about what the Dolphin does compared to that, I'm like, man, this is a no-brainer for me personally. Not that that's not like probably an amazing machine as far as like the quality of it or whatever. I never had any problems with it ever, but I think of like all the cars I've been asked to make a key for. I'm like, man, I feel like I would have got burnt because I wouldn't have been able to do most of them.
You almost need to carry both.
Yeah.
Use your Dolphin for origination and use your Sidewinder for duplicates.
Yeah, and Eric,
for time savings.
I convinced Eric to buy one, and I learned how to cut high security keys. Like Eric was calibrating his rods, and I was like, you take a micrometer and you measure, like an edge cut key. You can measure, and he was like, oh, okay, and like you literally that's how I learned. And people are always like, I can't copy this plastic Volkswagen insert. I can. I have a duplicator. Or this 80K Lexus key is giving me trouble. Not me, because I have a duplicator. You know what I mean?
Did you ever try putting one of those black Comfort Access Volkswagen CC keys in a Dolphin?
That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
about.
It'll
do it, though. The Dolphin will do it if you tell it you're cutting a plastic key.
Well, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was aluminum.
No, that's the Range Rover you're thinking of.
Is it?
Yeah, the Comfort Access slot keys, those are plastic.
Yeah, those are plastic.
Dolphin will do both. So if you're doing the plastic ones on the Dolphin, those are shoulder aligned, so it already knows where to go. So you just put your key in there, tell it you're cutting plastic. It'll be an option in your app on your phone, and you just hit plastic key, and it'll just cut it. And then if you're doing an aluminum one like the HU100, what it'll do is it'll come down because it tip stops I said HU100, HU101. It tip stops those keys, and what the Dolphin will do is the probe will come down and touch a certain spot on the clamp, and it'll stop there. It'll just come to a complete stop, touching the clamp, and you push the tip of your aluminum key to the probe, and then you check the box on your machine again. I'm cutting aluminum, and it'll just cut it.
I didn't know that.
Does it?
On what machine is that? Are you referring to?
The X-Horse ones, the Dolphin.
Oh, okay.
Does it smear the metal? Because that's like a really Does it waste
if you get a good quality aluminum one, it will not. But if you get those super cheap Chinese ones like from Amazon and shit, it'll definitely smear the metal. I've had like the decent quality ones where it just cuts it and it's fine. And then I've also had customer supplied ones where they were like the cheap, crappy ones, and it just smeared the hell out of the metal, and I had to come back and clean it with a file, just hand file.
Lubricate your cutter.
All the
Sometimes
shit.
it helps with shitty metal.
How do you guys cut like plastic keys for like a Volkswagen CC or EO?
We just talked about
We
that.
just talked about that.
Fuck, I was taking a piss.
Yeah. I was talking about how I have a duplicator, a frame and Sidewinder 2 as my backup. And I don't have issues because I have a duplicator,
Yeah, but I mean, if you had to originate it.
Frame and Sidewinder 2.
The Dolphin will originate those.
It will?
Yeah.
Because, a lot of machines, they use...
They use a metal probe to touch the key.
Continuity.
Touch the key, yes.
Yeah, continuity.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. Continuity. On like the Ninja Laser, what you would do is use a brass key, and it would go in and it would start a sequence, and then you would stop the machine and pause it, and then put in the plastic key.
Huh,
and then cut it.
I can't.
So, sorry I missed that, guys.
I was gonna see if I could get it to pull up, but once you get to the menu on your phone and once you hit cut key,
here, hold on,
it'll
Eric.
give you another prompt.
There you go.
Yeah. So it's not gonna pull up because I can't connect to it. But if you're in this menu and you hit cut key on here, the next prompt will come up. If you read that prompt instead of just clicking cut, you'll see it'll have a check mark to say plastic, and you can cut plastic for a limit that way.
Eric, where are you exactly? Because that background looks amazing.
I'm at home. That's a green screen, buddy.
Oh shit!
Yeah, show him. Change it real quick. Show him.
I'm sitting in my apartment.
Yeah, that's cyberpunk. That's like the background for cyberpunk. Just so you guys are aware.
We can be fancy at the lake house. Now I'm at the lake house, boys.
Yeah, well,
dude, that looks fucking perfect. That looks like your house whenever you do that. That's
this is where I'm at right now.
Here, Greg, I'm going to make you full screen. There you go. I can't see shit.
Right.
Well, here's
Come
Greg's
on, you're going to be on the podcast. Yes. Right. Sit. Good boy. You're on the podcast. Look.
Greg's got a Belgian Malinois, purebred.
He's something else.
So you guys were talking about cars that gave you a struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was thinking about cars that I was told you can't make a key for. So FBS 4, like push start Benz keys, is that still
currently
true?
Currently that is a no dice.
And then
unless you have a dealer tool.
Yeah. I went to make a key for a 2018 Audi A5 Sportback.
Mm-hmm.
Nice little Audi. Guy handed me the key. I was like, I definitely don't have that. So I ordered one without asking any questions because I had plugged into it already. And the Autel said it was Audi Emo 5. It read it. I was like, okay, if it can talk to it. I just assumed after I walked away from it that it would add a key to it. And that was not the case from what I understand. Is that also true?
Was it MQB?
No.
Did you attempt to add a key to it?
Yeah, I did. And it would do an emo scan, and it would not let me really go any farther.
So did you do a guided function or expert mode?
I did both and did the auto detect on cluster type, and that's really.
So Emo 5 should be the same as BCM2. You said it was a Q5?
A5 Sportback.
Oh, A5. Did it have that little? Did it have that key that some of them kind of that go into the slot?
God,
no, it was probably proximity.
Yeah, it was prox.
Yeah, but did it look like the one that goes into the slot in the
no,
on the
this
systems?
This one
the
was
proximity
different.
ones on the newer ones look the same. They just don't have a slot.
No.
I'm trying to think because I just did a 17 Q5 recently. Obviously, even add a key is EEPROM.
Yeah, I've done the Q5 key with the slot. I've done that one before. This looked like. I'm just gonna show you a picture real.
Yeah, pull up a picture real quick.
If you can actually message a picture to my messenger, Malachi, I can pull it up on the.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you mentioned your friend.
I don't get a whole lot of the newer Audis like even really calls for them, so
really?
Like I don't have the opportunity to play around with them.
Jared.
Yeah.
Real quick.
I'm waiting.
We need to get Steven Masters on one of these.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming.
It would be very entertaining if you've ever talked to Steven Masters before.
I've watched one video of Steven Masters, and I already know that would be entertaining.
I sent it, Jared.
Okay. You sent it to the messenger?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I sent it. I have it on my phone.
Oh.
Can I do that? Can I send a photo on there?
Yeah, send me a message through Messenger.
Yep.
Oh, hey, it's that stupid looking fucking words escape me. Eric, you know the flip key that X-Horse makes that I say is really ugly and it's Audi style?
Yes, I know which one you're talking about.
It's that one.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, what happened with it?
I couldn't program a key, and I asked on Autels on the Autel group, no go. And
was this was an add a key situation?
Yeah, he had one.
Did the original key work after?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, good.
So he never made it even to reading the emo data.
Okay, that would just be a disaster. Like
no shit.
Like that's so scary. Like,
is that a thing?
Yeah, dude. I've cleaned up behind locksmiths here that go to Volkswagens and Audis that you can add a key to, and they go through the add a key process, screw something up, and then the original key stops working. Guess what? Now it's an all keys lost situation.
Hey, Eric.
Yeah, I had to buy a Volkswagen Beetle one time, so I don't want to talk about it, but yeah.
Eric.
Like, you know how your car used to run and drive?
What's that?
Yeah. Well, your car doesn't run and drive anymore, so.
What did you say, Jared?
Throw this up on your green screen for everybody. I just sent you a picture to Messenger. So download that, upload it to your background, and throw it up so that everybody can see what we're talking about, okay?
Oh, yeah. That ugly. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that ugly piece of shit.
Is this streaming what, on YouTube or what?
We're on YouTube and Facebook right now.
Yeah. We can stream to basically wherever we want. Limitations depending on platform. Like it won't go to Instagram and stuff. Once upon a time, I had a 2001 Sequoia, and I love the fact that in America, we can reset certain 4C systems through the OBD port. And in Europe, in Africa, and every other fucking part of the world, they have to do EEPROM. And so I encountered a problem with a 2001 Sequoia where I couldn't reset the immobilizer through OBD. And all the outsiders were like, duh, you have to do EEPROM, duh. And they were like, immobilizer behind cluster. First off, it's not. because I pulled the glove box and it was there. And then I went ahead and pulled the cluster because I was crazy. I was like, okay, maybe I'm losing my mind. There's nothing there. So I had to do EEPROM on one of those Sequoias. Today, the podcast was late. Why? Because I did a fucking 2001 Sequoia. And Eric, this one went through OBD, didn't it?
Yep.
He's on the phone with me while I was programming. And I'm like, please, God. So that's kind of something that I've come in contact with is like, there's a divergence of information. There's
There you go.
So there's a divergence of information like on different parts of the world, right? Like in Australia, you cannot do an H reset. I don't know if they've cracked it yet. They have
I'll
to
be back in a second.
dash. Did you pull it up?
Yeah, did you see? Okay, hold on. Maybe you
Do
didn't
one more
see it.
time.
Shows up kind of.
Right.
There it goes.
That's the key system right there. Is that the one, Malachi?
That's it.
That's it. That's that fucker.
Oh, boy.
Can we do that through OBD?
Greg might know better than I would because I don't know. I haven't.
Known. Greg, you ever
What's
had
that?
one of those?
I've never even gotten a call for that key.
I'm sorry, I was fucking off with my dog. Where were we at?
I'll be right back.
All right. Podcast is falling apart.
No, we're good.
It's dissolving.
01 Sequoia?
Yeah, 01 Sequoia. Like a lot of people don't know that certain 4C systems
Can be done via OBD.
yes, and they immediately assume 3-key system, I've got to do EEPROM, you know? Did you know that, Malachi, that you can do certain systems that are 4C and Toyota, like through OBD ports?
I'm trying to think of the last one that I went to.
Do you do a lot of old cars or new cars?
All the above.
Yeah, I do a lot of old cars.
Really.
I do a lot of everything.
Yeah. I live in an area that's kind of run down. So I experience a lot of the, buy here, pay here, hidden, what do we call those? Interrupters and shit like that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Greg, you see a lot of them, right? I think Greg's gonna pass out on us.
No, I'm not gonna Steven Masters on y'all.
Greg, do you ever experience any like interrupters in your auctions or your dealerships, like stuff that you got to pull modules out of to program? Remote starts, tracking devices, anything like that?
No, actually not normally.
You ever get to a remote start system where the key's in the box? Car wouldn't start, and they're like, I don't know what to do here, and it's like a dumb blown fuse, or the key fell out of the coil in the box.
So I do run into a lot of issues where it's a blown fuse situation, and you just diag the fuse box.
Oh, I'm going to interrupt real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit. Chris had joined us, but he fucking disappeared.
Oh, there.
I'm back. No, not Chris.
I'll be damned.
So
It looks like Chris is frozen.
Yeah, Chris is frozen in time. I think he joined and then he disappeared. I didn't hear him indicate.
Yeah.
Greg, what's up?
Greg.
So, no, it's I do run into blown fuse situations. As far as the question you asked about GPS units and things like that, no, I don't experience much difficulties with those kinds of things. And I work on a lot of vehicles that are total losses, airbags deployed, broken glass, and I don't normally have any problems working with them.
I run into those stupid GPS things a lot.
Yeah, sometimes I run into like vehicles that are total losses, and fire departments or whatever, when the first responders will cut the positive cables on the batteries.
Oh shit, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I have seen that once, and I actually thought
that shit happens all the time. They cut they'll cut the positive cable on the batteries.
That happened on a Ford 2019 Ford F-150. My friend, the repo guy, he got the truck because the truck was stolen, and they pit maneuvered it. And so whenever we got the truck, it was completely fucked because a highway patrolman had hit it sideways after it had been pit. And when I went to program the key to it, yeah, like Greg said, it was cut, dude, and it was cut flush with something very powerful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, they've got a cable cutter.
Yeah.
And they cut it to prevent, obviously, fire.
Yeah.
So, on those vehicles, when it's cut, you just strip the cable back a little bit and put your jumper cables on it, and
yep.
Yep, exactly.
Real quick, we've got Chris Hofstetler joining us. It looks like his pod or his
Chris
camera
needs to retire that dial-up internet and get him some high speed.
Say something, Chris. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Chris?
Barely. I can barely hear you guys.
Okay.
I can see you guys now.
I think your internet is really shitty.
Well, whenever we get really, really, really hot days up here in the Northwest, the internet decides to act up kind of strangely. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right.
Hey, Greg, have you met Chris?
What's up, Chris?
Mr. Lockjaw.
This is Mr. Lockjaw.
Dude, I love the shirt that I won from you. That was freaking awesome.
Uh-oh. Chris is freezing on us. This is what you get whenever you invite hillbillies on the podcast, okay? This is what happens.
Chris.
Yeah.
Are you there?
Look at him. Look at him. He's frozen in his beautiful... Look at this.
Yeah, I see that.
Fucking beautiful. Yes. All right. Damn. Like, what the fuck is happening here? This podcast is going all like 20 directions.
Well, he can't hear me right now, but I do love the Lockjaw Manufacturing shirt that he sent to me.
Yeah, all his gear is cool, man.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome stuff. I get a lot of comments from people who are not even locksmiths.
Which shirt did you get?
It's the one with the lock picking and then octopus. It has an octopus on the front of it.
Oh yeah.
And it says Lockjaw Manufacturing on the back.
Yeah. Me and Jareth actually both wore that same shirt the same day that we were teaching one of the classes for UHS down in Florida. And speaking of oddball customers, do you remember that guy at the restaurant? He saw our shirts and was like, "Hey, I know there's you guys pick locks? There's some rich houses over here."
Where was that at? I don't remember that.
That was the Italian place that Paul wanted to go to.
Oh,
that was the bartender. Remember?
Yeah,
I tried to order a drink and the waitress sent the bartender out.
Oh, where's Paul at tonight? I'd like to talk to him.
He's got a lot going on actually. Paul actually he purchased a house. Not a house like for like himself, but somebody died, one of his customers. And so the son of that customer reached out to Paul. Paul had opened a safe for his dad, and dad died. So the guy reached out and was like, "Hey, I'm not in the state. I'll sell you the contents of my parents' house for $1,500. And Paul was like, "Yep." And so now he has to move the contents of an entire house into his house. And
I think he said he had till like the end of the day or tomorrow or something to get it done. He's on a real tight deadline.
He has to give the keys back Monday, and so
fuck all that noise.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. As you see, my hobbies, I sell flags and World War II shit. Paul hustles used whatever, like anything used. You know, it's pretty. Speaking of which, do you guys have any extracurricular hobbies that you make money off of?
Oh yeah.
What do you do?
I work on bikes, motorcycles, ATVs.
Yeah, buying and selling dirt bikes is a big thing of ours. So, as a matter of fact, when we leave the lake house on the way back, going to pick up Felicia's new dirt bike. So she got a 2024 Beta X Trainer, 300 cc 2-stroke. So we're gonna go pick that up on the way back.
Every once in a while, I'll get to actually get paid to build a computer for someone.
Yeah,
something I like doing. I've got.
Do you have any hobbies?
There's a cool one right there.
That's
so.
Sick.
You guys aren't. I'm just meeting you two for the first time. So aside from locksmithing, a lot of the things that, if you guys even give a shit, a lot of the things that I do, like we race and ride dirt bikes, BMX bikes, and we do all kinds of shit.
I think all BMX guys are kind of have kind of a similar, almost a similar personality. Like there's a certain trait to you guys. Like I can tell. I worked with a guy named Rick. He's a cool freaking dude, man. He was a body man. And when he moved into a shop down here in Virginia, I left Maryland and followed him down here, and he took me on his helper in the body shop, even though I was a mechanic by trade. I was kind of learning a little bit, but he's huge into BMX and motocross and all that stuff. And like, I mean, talking to you and talking to him, it almost seems like talking to the same person outside of talking about locksmith stuff. You know what I mean?
Right. So,
Chris, what do you do for extra money?
What?
So I had the tattoo shop for a long time. That was fun. I obviously I own Lockjaw Manufacturing. That's fun. I have a multi-state mobile mechanic service that operates in Portland, Colorado, Washington, Tennessee, and we had Minnesota until they set that state on fire a couple years ago because something happened. But that's mostly what I do.
Are you a millionaire?
Oh, hey, Chris, I didn't realize. Hey,
what's up, buddy?
I don't know if you heard me before, but thanks for that shirt that I won.
Did that fit okay? Was that good for you?
Yeah, dude, that thing was awesome. I wear that thing every week,
dude. When we started making shirts, I was like, this has to be comfortable because our asses are in and out of fucking vans and trucks all day. It can't fall apart. That stuff matters. So just know that if it's good for me, it's good for you guys.
Yeah,
I had to convince Chris to make fat man sizes.
The Locksmith logo button.
Yeah. I think didn't Jared have some input on that?
I've got one on my hat right now. One of his
banners. I got some new hats that are coming out hopefully next week. Jared's already got a sneak peek of them. And I'm sorry, guys. I did not go with that fucking hideous purple. You guys were high as shit. We're not doing that.
You picked the same one, Jared?
We're not doing this fucking the locksmith formerly known as Prince bullshit. It ain't happening. Sorry.
Come on, man.
No way. Too much purple.
Purple's my favorite color.
Yeah, we know it's your fucking favorite color.
You know what? Fuck me. Yeah. Oh, he's talking shit about me. He's like, you Barney loving, Teletubby loving motherfucker. And I'm like, all right.
I said, we're not doing purple. No one likes purple. And he sends me a picture of him at the gym wearing purple. I'm like, well, fuck you, okay?
I was literally wearing
purple. Like, which one is the best? I'm like, the purple one. He's like, are you fucking serious?
Chris said, like, people said purple. I'm like, I'm not going to ask no more.
Chris said nobody leisurely wears purple, and I was like, "Fuck you!" And I like took a picture, and I'm leisurely wearing purple, and I'm like, "All right, paint me into that box, why don't you?"
Well, you're definitely not
on the
people.
other day.
I don't know any purple. I'm sorry, I don't know any purple. I'm very much an earth tones kind of person.
Chris, you said you're going to cut down on the amount of T-shirts you're producing, or something like that.
Or what?
You said you're going to only produce a few designs from here?
For T-shirts, like we originally started as a sticker company, and then I still have the domain lockjawstickerco.com. We're like, man, there's no money in stickers. Like people do as a hobby. I was like, what if we did like patches, shirts?
You haven't met me because I love stickers.
I love stickers too.
I put stickers everywhere. Everywhere I go, I have a pocket full of stickers.
Covered in them. I love stickers.
But that's just me.
But if it costs
I'm probably a rarity.
I mean, as a business, you'd have to sell a shit ton of stickers to make any profit.
I got a bunch of them right here, stickers.
Nice.
Yeah,
so we decided to do shirts and everything else.
I sticker bomb everything.
How do I
don't go anywhere without stickers?
Purple, and you guys have all these stickers, and you're just relating like, oh, and then nobody wears purple, whatever.
No one wears purple. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like this isn't the 17th century. No one's fucking dying out purple anymore.
Is that a bong you're holding?
Yes.
It's a water pipe. Tobacco.
Yeah. You can't say bong. Now you have to leave the store.
All right.
Oh wait. So we did a bunch of shirts.
Tobacco use only.
Shirts are pretty cool, but not everyone likes shirts. A lot of people are more into our mats and our pinning stuff and stickers and badges and hats. And like the shirts are like great. They just don't move very fast. So even though they are popular, they don't move nearly as fast as the rest of our inventory. So in the next year, I'm going to kind of bringing down that number and just kind of stick with a few core designs.
Hey, I got a question for you, man. I've seen your stuff. Very cool. It was probably like 2 or 3 months ago. I bought one of those Lock Monkey 3D printed bit holders that you can like stick to your key cutter. You guys ever see these things?
Yeah.
Know what I'm referring to?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, that would be handy. You know how it is to like have your stuff in your van and have it organized?
Yeah.
To be able to make stuff like that, not just a little tiny item, you know what I mean? But
I mean, I got my 3D printer right here. Everything's ready to go.
Oh, you have one? Oh, shit.
I got the resin one and I got the PLA right here. I was actually just experimenting with. I was making
sex toys again, right?
I was making some SC1s for. I'm gonna practice impressioning with some plastics.
Nice.
See how that does.
Well, you're saying the stuff that applies to locksmithing goes better than more of like novelty stuff. That's true.
Yes and no. The market's changed a lot in the last 5 years, thanks to like Lockpicking Lawyer and Bosnian Bill and all these other fucking people that have really produced. I'm not sure if you guys are on the internet at all, but Sparrows has really been pushing their brand lately. Like they've really, I haven't seen Facebook ads. They're actually trying, because for like 10 years they did nothing. Their website wasn't even changed. It looked like it was built in 2005. And all of a sudden, they have a new website. They have new products. They got, they're actually marketing. They're running ads now. They even have an Instagram account where they didn't have one forever. So I think that lock picking, and I think it will be making its way into the mainstream very quickly here, more than it already has.
I have a ton of Sparrow stuff. I have
no problem with Sparrow. Don't get me wrong. I love their stuff. I use their stuff too. I approached them multiple times when I first started and said, hey, I'd really like to collaborate with you guys on some things. We have great ideas. We have great plans. Jareth knows a lot about the stuff we're working on, and Eric too. And we're not so much a tool company as we are a lifestyle brand. So we make a lot more stuff that accents the lifestyle than actually make the picks and we just recently started doing cases and stuff. But
that's one of the cool things that I like about Lockjaw Manufacturing. Is that you are generating apparel for people who are in the industry.
Yep. There's nothing like it. No one's done anything like it.
It's like Fubu or
few and far between. Does that make sense?
My only competition is like the T-shirts to say my superpower is, and then it's like locksmith. That's it. It's interchangeable with like plumber or dad or electrician. It's real generic. There's nothing out there that is actually gauged towards this industry from people that are within the industry. When we started building our pinning mat, I was really surprised to find out it's literally just the same companies that make fucking bar mats. It's like the same company that makes the bar mats for Jägermeister make the pinning mats for us. There's no difference in the material and everything. They literally just say how big you want it, what do you want, and so when we designed it from scratch, it was super easy to do.
Well,
and
it was
that was easy. That was easy because I've used UHS mats, I've used the lab mats, I've used CLK, American Key Supply, I've used fucking all of them, and they all have their problems. And when we made our own mat, it was just like, hey, all the fucking problems are gone now all of a sudden.
What I'm basically telling you is that it's fucking awesome that you generated or came up with a merch company designated for locksmith.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah. It seemed like it was a no-brainer, but I grew up in the 90s on the California coast when surfing and skateboarding was like the fucking biggest thing in the 90s. Everyone had a surfboard. Everyone had a skateboard. Tony Hawk, fucking Birdhouse, World Industries, Dark Star, all the brands. It was like every month something new came out, and there's a lot of graphic design with that stuff. And I'm like, hey, what we do for fun even sometimes, like lock sport and lock hobby people, hobbyists, all this shit's pretty underground. Like, why are we not celebrating this? Like, we're pretty fucking awesome. We're breaking the shit from the past.
You just gave me a really great idea. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
You need to do a Lockjaw Manufacturing logo on a skateboard deck. I would buy it.
Nobody else would, though.
That's the thing. It's easy to do, but actually, you could just get a blank one and get a giant sticker and put it on there. That's all you have to do.
I think that would be better. Yeah, because then you could stick the sticker on a van wall or something like that, or a machine, something like that. Programmer.
Yep.
My machines are all sticker bombed with Lockjaw stickers.
Yeah.
Are we all going to shows this year? Like, I'm going to Aloha next month. Are you guys going?
When are we going?
What?
Florida?
What is it? Orlando.
Yeah, Orlando, Florida.
I think
it's real.
When?
It's the, I think, first week of August or second week of
August. It's like the beginning of August, so it's like in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I'm not making it to that, but I was planning on Kansas City.
Oh shit! Yeah. Kansas City's driving distance for me, so I'm going to be there.
All 20 of you guys are going to be in Kansas City this year?
Probably.
Yeah, all 20.
It's supposed to be the new Jess Cars,
I know. It's the first of many. I know.
Yeah.
At least
Chris, you going to come back to TLA?
We're going to see how that plays out.
TLA is going to be fun. There's going to be a fight in the parking lot, I'm told. There's going to be all sorts of shenanigans.
Where?
You coming? You coming to TLA?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I got big plans. I was waiting for them to release their class schedule because I thought that since they're adding our safe guy down there, that they were going to extend the classes, but they didn't yet. So I was waiting to book my flight and hotel and everything until I was confirmed on classes. But if this late in the game they haven't changed it, I'm assuming they're just going to wedge it in with the rest of you guys during those class days. So
yeah. So I'm going. Eric's going. Paul's going. Chris is going to the TLA. Yeah, I'm going. Eric's going. Greg's going, and Paul's going to Aloha. Yeah. And then I'm going. Eric's going. Paul's going. Malachi's going to Kansas City. So
I can't wait to meet the rest of y'all in person.
Well, you're not going to meet a couple of people because they're not going to go to Aloha.
Oh.
Yeah, not all of them. Yeah, Chris has a grind, an axe to grind with Aloha because they allow scammers into the organization.
Okay. So there is, in a nutshell, yes, that is exactly it. But the problem is they passed recent legislation within Aloha that takes away certain rights for members for voting, and they can consolidate and pick and choose the regional people. So if they have, what are they at, like 5 right now or something like that, 5 or 6, they can eliminate regions and reassign them to different people at pretty much any given point with no real rhyme or reason. So they kind of are taking away power from the members. Like, okay, whatever, I get that. Things get restructured all the time. But also, every month they publish the new members and keynotes, which is cool. But they say, hey, guys, vet these people that applied and, let us know. Again, no big deal. There's lots of foreign locksmiths that are legitimate, no big deal. But locally, where I'm at in Spokane, Washington, we have a scammer that operates out of Oregon, which is Portland, Oregon's about 6 hours away. This guy's been in the news. I've had feuds with him. I've had to threaten to take him to court. I've had to get the state on him for no licensing. He runs 5 different locksmith businesses with no business license. The state finally got him because he had a garage door company with no contractor's license in 3 states. The guy's like in Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Texas, California, no license. It's all scammer stuff. 15 plus 25 and up. New bill's $500 to make a car key, whatever, like that.
To be honest with you, everything you just said, I've got more of my life to live than to give a fuck about what other people are doing with their businesses.
It's not about what other people are doing. I agree. You should focus on.
So I can come out to my lake house and do my shit. I don't like to spend that much time and dedication about what somebody else is doing is not my thing.
Spokane's a small town. We have no scammers up here except for one.
There's scammers everywhere, man. We're not gonna.
I know that. I'm very well.
We're not gonna get around them. There's no way. I know. I'm just not gonna I'm not gonna waste my time.
Hold on, Greg. Let him respond real quick.
Okay.
No. This is fine. This is fine. He has a good point because you should not focus on the what's the word I'm looking for here? The animosity you have towards someone. That energy could be spent bettering myself. I could be doing Audi keys and Volkswagen and Euro. I could be promoting my business. I get that 1,000%. And I do.
Yeah.
I do a very good job of marketing my business. I do extremely well for myself with where I am and what I do. Numbers wise and customers wise, I have a great relationship with everyone in my city and other locksmiths.
Right.
My qual isn't my issue isn't so much with him, it's with Aloha, because he's a member of Aloha and has been for a couple years now. And when I'm paying him to a membership for an organization that doesn't uphold the ethics, it becomes useless. It's meaningless.
Okay, yeah, I get
So
that.
that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they should remove him. I have asked, hey, you guys review this guy, and here's the reasons why. And if they don't want you, that's fine. But for the betterment of the industry is one of the biggest slogans that this organization has. And if we're not quality checking the people that are involved with it and participate in it, it's meaningless to me. So Aloha, I'm waiting for them to react to it. If they don't react to it, no problem. I will step aside. I will not be part of that organization. I will definitely not, participate in any of their things because obviously they don't have the locksmith's actual interest at heart. They're more involved with trying to get membership and money, and I get that. That's fine. It's quality to me. The quality of the organization is massively important because if you paid, but what's the low at right now? Like $200 to $300 plus your conventions, plus whatever else you need for education from them.
I think it's like three something.
Yeah. If your Netflix goes out for 2 days, you're gonna throw a fit, right? I mean, if your internet goes out for a couple days, you're gonna be calling them up and saying, "What the fuck are you guys doing? I'm paying for a service, and you guys aren't providing it." We'll throw a fit over Netflix, through fucking Comcast, through our T-Mobile, Verizon, whatever. But we have organizations that do almost nothing for us. They're a club. They're not helping us in any way, shape, or form. We get a magazine. Cool. We get to go to some conventions. Cool. They're not doing anything for the betterment of the industry. Kimi was backdoored into a low on. They're allowed to the conventions. There's a whole bunch of stuff that goes on with that. But I've lost faith in Aloha, and I'm waiting for them to prove me wrong.
Yeah.
So
I also
that's a good point that you brought them up, because that was one thing that I was curious about when I started my business, got listed on Google. I thought I want to be better in the search results, right? So I contact Google. I say, what do I need to do here? And they're like, you need better reviews. You need to have the most and the best. So fast forward, I don't know how many years later, I have more than anybody in my county. I even think the counties that surround mine, and I have, I think, a 5-star rating. One person gave me a 4-star review out of all of them. I didn't pay for any of them, but somehow Kimi still is number one with like 20, 25 reviews. And so many of my customers call me and they're like, hey, we typed our number and our zip code in, and it says that they don't have a technician.
But somehow
available.
they magically have hundreds of in Seattle, Washington, and I wrote a dissertation almost based on this. When I sent it to Loa for my grievance against Kimi to get them out of the conventions, they have 100 kiosks in Seattle. That is 100 GMB Google My Business Maps listings that all route to the same call center, same West Coast, whatever call center.
Yeah.
But here's the kicker: when you call them and you say, "I need a key made for a, something simple, an 07 Ford F-150, or some stupidly fucking easy car, an ignition on a Silverado or something, pull it in, I can write a code." They say, "We don't have one available. You have to call our partner, our trusted partner," and they forward you over to guess who? Just take a guess.
A scammer.
Anybody.
It's a scammer. It's 24-hour locksmith directory, and it's locksmith. Yeah, I need a key made for my car. 15 and up. Okay. What's your zip code? Click. That's the trusted partner of the world's most trusted locksmith. When you call Kimi, that is the jingle. Thank you for calling Kimi, the most trusted locksmith in America. You get routed to a scammer calls.
Yeah. I didn't know that they were a member of Aloha. So I reached out to them. I reached out because I thought I want to make more money. I'm willing to work. I will join forces with them. So I email them. I offer I offer to be a technician for them, almost like a subcontractor, because they do that with people. And
I did it for 5 months. We can talk about that.
Yeah, I'm curious to know. I did this years ago. Didn't ever get a response.
Can y'all hear me?
And was like, nah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can hear you, Greg. Real quick, I want to introduce Ben Hobbs.
I'm gonna have to jump off.
All right.
Hey, nice to meet you, Greg.
Thank you, Greg.
All right, Greg. See you in Florida, man.
Yeah.
All right, later, brother. All right. Real quick, Ben Hobbs has joined us. Ben Hobbs, who are you?
I'm an automotive guy, live in Salina, Kansas, just west of Kansas City, about 3 hours. Been in the business for about 8 years. That's about it.
You're admin of what group?
Locksmith Go.
How many members?
Right about 15,000.
15,000. Is it fucking chaotic or what?
It sucks. It really does. Talking about, I'm in Dallas right now, so I'm sitting out of the motel. It sucks dealing with stupid ass people, stupid questions, shit that people should know before they even start. We get posed to read the cuts for me, give me the code. It's nonsense all day long.
Yeah.
What's the group?
Locksmith Go.
You both said it at the same time. Locksmith Go.
Got it.
Yeah, it's like Pokemon Go.
So I've been watching you guys for a few minutes live, and you guys were talking about Kimi services and that shit. And my understanding is Kimi is kind of owned by Google. That's how they've gotten to where they are on Google, is because Google's allowed them because they've partnered with Kimi.
Are you saying they
Yes
partnered
and-
with
yes
them
and
like
no.
as in advertising, or Google purchased the company specifically?
Google has some ownership in Kimi.
Got it.
I didn't. Yeah, I see. Locally, Kimi, like they have like 3 or 4 kiosks. People call them, and nobody is around. So Kimi in my area, thankfully, has nobody to refer the calls to.
Yeah, same here.
Same
Yeah.
up here.
So
It was supposed to be me at one point. Actually, I think you recommended me, Jared. You sent me a guy's number.
can I?
And I got in
Can
touch
I-
with them, and it never went anywhere. I don't even know how you're supposed to officially get partnered with them, but they said I was on board. They had me download their stupid little app that they were going to send jobs to, and nothing ever came of it. They never sent me a single job, so I was just like, screw this. And
So
I don't even care.
I've been in the towing industry, repo, locksmith, for quite a few years. And what Kimi does is you call the number. They charge anywhere in my area $140, $150 to unlock a car. And then it gets broadcasted to an app. And the app is called, what the fuck is it?
What was the name of that stupid app?
It's a towing app. And all the towing
it's
providers,
not special
and
at all, I
everybody-
promise.
yeah, and they want to give us the jobs for $50, $65, and they're keeping half the money. And they're charging double. I mean, I charge $65 to unlock a car in town during the day.
Yep.
And they're charging $140, $150. And
here's what I can tell you. The director of business management, Brian, I forget his fucking name. It's all sales. It's all ran on the same way you would get with a Jero or Swoop or any other, or Allstate. All the roadside companies use these generic third-party apps. And the reason I know they're generic is when I installed it for Kimi, it automatically populated from another generic app that I had from another NSP. So these are all shoestring apps, and it's almost like Uber. Hey, first one to get it gets it. The payouts were never what you expected, and ours, I worked for them for 5 months. I went undercover. I documented everything. I wrote a huge fucking report on it. It's all on Facebook and Locksmith Nation and shit. We would get calls for, here's a 21 Toyota push start, Matrix or fucking whatever version of Toyota it was. And your payout was $125 for the job. And the customer was charged like $400 or $500. I'm not going on doing a brand. And this was back in 21. So this is a brand new car at the time. I think it was a 20 or 21 Toyota push start. And I was like, this is fucking crazy. But for transponder keys, I'd asked them so many times, who pays for the chips? Where does the quality levels need to be? What is the stance? Like if I'm paying for tokens, if I have like an MVP, are you guys reimbursing me for tokens? Like how is this all going to work when it comes to chips? Am I required to use OEM keys? Can I use aftermarket? Is there a warranty? Who supplies the warranty? And I'm talking to the director of business development with Kimi. He's like, I don't know. No one knew a fucking thing. No one knew anything. There was no technical. If you had a question, we were often said, go make a turnkey for this, 2010 Nissan. Okay, no transponder, no programming, just turnkey. So I make a metal key, make a D834, it turns, that's it. Nothing about programming. The customer says, well, I paid $400 for a remote and stuff. Said, look, here's the fucking work order. Turnkey, that's it. I made $75 on this. They said, well, what do I do? I said, call Kimi. They call Kimi, they get hung up on right there in the fucking field with me.
Well, what about Tom's keys? Like, we have to deal with Kimi, all this other BS. And now one of our commenters right here, and I'm sure you guys have seen as well, Tom's Keys is inundating the.
Tom's Keys is owned by a guy named Mike from Utah, by the way. There is no Tom.
I see that bullshit advertising all the time, but
he posted in me and Ben's group actually asking for help.
I've read a bunch of the reviews on it, and like once you sift through the bullshit, you'll see there's just like a lot of reviews where people are like, "Oh, don't use this, blah blah blah. It doesn't work."
It's just disposable programmers for like Toyota and other like onboarding systems for added keys. That's all it is, really, right? That's everything I've seen.
Yeah, I gather it's mostly bullshit. Like the ones, the little like the orange dongle that we use or the green dongle that they have for the Toyota.
There was someone in our group of people that was saying like, hey, I think it was X-Force or maybe it was BBDI. Like, do they know you're using their software? They pretty much cloned this shit software that only works on like Toyotas and fucking other cars that already have an existing master key system, whatever, you can add the key to it. And then they got fucking banned off the website or banned off the chat from that that ad or whatever. But
Tomsky, they will rent if you pay like a $200 deposit, they will send a programmer with the key, and then you have to send the programmer back to them, and then they'll refund you the money.
Ask anyone that's worked at AutoZone that's lent out a tool how that system works for them. I promise you it doesn't.
I saw
sorry.
Somebody else asked about Car Keys Express. Same thing. They ship you out your. I had a customer just recently ask me about a Nissan push start. I forget what it was. A Juke. He ordered his key from Car Keys Express. Fob dongle for OBD2 didn't work, and called me in to finish the job. But I think that's pretty much the same thing. They're using all dongles, right?
Yeah. Tom's Key, I think, is partnered with Car Keys Express. Okay. If you look on their website, they're partnered some way, somehow. And I even have the packaging at our local AutoZone that people buy, and they can't get the shit to work. And so, the AutoZone guys are calling, hey, get over here and program this thing, And I normally won't program somebody else's key, but I'm starting to every day because I'm just losing money. I just tell them, it's $100. If it works, it works. If it don't, it don't.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't, somebody else is going to. So
exactly.
Usually what I'll do is like whatever I'll sell the key for, I'll give them. So if somebody calls me for, I don't know, F-150 remote head key or something, and it's a key, if they have a duplicate, they're going to come to me. I'll charge them like $125 for an aftermarket. They're like, I got my own. I know I can buy that key for pretty cheap. I'll give them like a $5 discount off of what I would do. So I'll tell them like $120, bring the car over here and I'll program it and cut it.
Yeah.
So, but even all the way up to, cause I get the idiots that find the cheap Class 3 keys on Amazon for BMW. Hey, they're like, I only paid $10 for this key for my BMW. How much are you going to charge me to program it? Well, I'm going to charge you $250.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah. I usually don't give much of a discount because I've still got my time.
Exactly. You still got your time, your knowledge, your cutter, your programmer.
I'm going to interrupt. Look, I actually have a text message. I can't flip the screen so that you guys, the world will see the phone number.
Oh shit!
And there he goes.
That was the slickest exit I've ever seen.
Everybody's internet.
Hey guys, I got something really cool to show you. And he was like, "Who's done?" On the thing about Tom's Car Keys or Tom's, I'm looking at their website right now. Literally, we're partnered with Car Keys Express to give you an exclusive discount, which means contact Tom's. Car Keys Express comes out and finishes the job or whatever. It's just lead generation.
So the other thing is, if you guys go on eBay, Car Keys Express is selling refurbished, aftermarket, and brand new on eBay. And like Transponder Island, the 7-button Pacifica new remote, it's $120 on Transponder Island. You can buy it new OEM on eBay through Car Keys Express for $80. What other distributor can we buy that key for $80? I don't know of any new OEM. You can't.
These are the things I'm talking about when it comes to organizations. If I was running a low, I'd say, look, no Car Keys Express, no fucking Tom's Car Keys. If you are related or working with any of these fucking organizations, you're fucking out. This is strictly for security professionals and none of you fucking hacks, or not really hacks, but the fucking,
But if you go on Car Keys Express's website to buy that key, it's fucking $200. But they sell it on eBay for anybody for $80. You can't buy that key for any distributor for less than $100.
So
take advantage of it.
There's been The guy was from New York, and the app was called Locked Out. This came out about 2013, 2014. Have you guys ever heard of this?
No.
It was literally an app. You say, hey, I'm locked out of my house, my car. You text a picture of your keyway or your lock through the app, and then someone says, I'll come do it for X amount of dollars. The thing lasted almost a year, then it crashed. Here's the thing about like KeyMe. They have they did $35 million last year in revenue. And this is also a company that's had $200 million almost raised in rounds of investment. White Star Capital, that's the person that owns White Star he's a previous Google executive. So there is the link. There is why and how they're able to do that. Because, hey, one of the guys that was running fucking Google is now fucking heavily invested into KeyMe. But at $35 million, and they have roughly 5,000 kiosks out there, and that's what they say, that ends up being, about $7,500 per kiosk in generation, which is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see it being a viable business. No one wants to work with them. The quality of the work is shit. What's going to happen in like 5 years from now when they're like Minute Key? You guys know about Minute Key, right? The same fucking thing, right?
Hey, Chris, if I ever run for president, I'm hiring you for Oppo research.
Ha! You don't want that. Oh.
But the Minute Key and KeyMe, they can't do half the things, and so I really don't worry about it. I let them, whatever. The car keys.
It's low-hanging fruit. It is entirely low-hanging fruit. But it's our fruit.
They come.
It's our fruit.
So I don't care that they can duplicate most house keys. It saves me money because I'm completely mobile and I don't have to drive to a customer's house and be like, sell them a $2, $3 key.
I'm not driving to a customer's house to duplicate.
I had someone call today and ask.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, though. For me. I can't mark that up enough for it to be a profitable fucking endeavor. So that I don't care about. What I care about is the visibility rating that my company gets, that I bust my ass for 7 days a week, 24 hours a day when I'm doing my job. That it really it has no bearing.
We've all had dealerships, everybody, that we've lost because somebody has came in and cut our throats on price. And what happens? Give them 6 months, 8 months, and they come back around because they can't do it. They can't do.
Yeah. Not only that, Ben, but the depending on where you're at least where I'm at, the boneheads from Car Keys Express, they only come through maybe once every 2 weeks. And a lot of these dealerships, they're, bonehead salesmen lose keys on a regular basis. And they need, they got a customer here who wants to look at a car and they don't have a key to it. They can't wait 2 weeks for Car Keys Express to show up. So they're going to call me or you, and we're going to go out there and get it done, and they're going to pay us.
Stay on top of our game, and they're in our daily route. The Car Keys, the guys that comes to where I live, he drives 100 miles one way. He comes every other Thursday. His keys are fucking junk. They're not doing any OEM keys. They're charging just barely below me, and the keys quit working, and people are coming in and complaining. And when they see that you're doing a good job and you're not having callbacks and people aren't bitching, you can charge what you want.
Great example. I went out and did a remote fob for a remote key for a 2012 F-150 today. The guy had a key that was from Car Keys Express, and he had it for a year and then stopped working. So he had to unlock it, immediately jump in the car and start it so the alarm wouldn't fucking go off. But he says, look, man, I want a new one, but my remote start hasn't worked since they fucking made it. And I said, well, what does it do? He says, well, I pushed the button and it honks twice. I said, that's unusual because usually it means that it knows it wants to start, but something's stopping. I said, that's really fucking weird. I'm not going to break the remote open. I'm not doing all that shit.
Yeah.
So I just got fucking, I'm not a huge automotive guy. I don't do a ton of work. I'm not a purist and say I only need OEM for a car that's 10 years old. I'll do it aftermarket, no problem. I get a Blue Rocket one. I fucking check it. I wand it. I make sure it's fucking everything's good. Hook it up. Boom, remote start works. Boom, everything works. No problems. First time, everything's great. And this guy is in fucking tears because he's like, it's 100 degrees outside. I wish my fucking remote. And we get hot and cold up here. And he's like, fuck Car Keys Express and fuck. I was like, okay, well, thanks. He's like, give me 10 of your cars. I have he's a mechanic and he has a shop across town. I was like, okay, no problem.
Do you guys? Now I'm just curious. All three of you. Do you guys give warranties with your shit?
Absolutely.
What do you offer?
If somebody calls me 6 months down the road and something's not right, I'm gonna go by and I'm gonna look at that key, just so I have a happy customer, and that happy customer is gonna tell more friends, "Hey, this motherfucker came back. He's cool. He didn't charge me to come back. Because what's it take?
And real quick, are you an OEM only kind of guy?
90%, yeah.
Okay. And what about you, Chris?
With both questions?
Yeah. Starting with, do you warranty your keys?
I do. So I warranty my transponders for 6 months. That's just keys only, and anything that's a remote head fob, a push start system, a fobic, whatever, that is a 90-day warranty explicitly. But like he just said, if it's a customer and it's down the street, Spokane's a pretty small place. If someone says, "Hey, I got this fobic from you, and now this button's not working," those are pretty simple to do, and they're pretty cheap to replace. That is the case. And word of mouth is fucking important as fuck in this business. So if they say, "Hey, it stopped working," so what? What's an aftermarket fobic cost? $18 right now. I charge them $200 to make whatever.
What about you, Malachi?
Real quick, I got cut off, and I wanted to say in regard to the whole Kimi and like Dorma, plug-in dongles and stuff, right? How it's not really a threat sometimes, because this person texted me, "Hello, looking to have some keys programmed." I said, "I'm available later." You know what I mean? That's why I didn't answer your call. "Okay, I'll be at work. However, my car is on the south side of Columbia. My wife will be home." 2017 Lincoln MKZ. "I have 2 new key fobs that are required." See, he's done his research. Wink. All right. "What all do I need when I have the battery up? The alarm goes off as I had to break in the car to get home. Shall I just have the battery charged and ready?" And I'm sure the title, laugh out loud. So this guy couldn't program a damn key, even though he got sent 2 keys because of an active alarm. You know what I mean? One little thing like that will stymie.
How many, again, I'm not a huge car guy, but how many people have you guys had to walk through the 10x3 or 10x3 procedure on like GM vehicles before? "Oh, my key's not working no more." "Oh, have you tried to swap it 10 times or 3 times 10 minutes each time?" "Oh, it doesn't work." I mean, that's simple, right? You just got to fucking turn it after 10 minutes.
Even they fail at that. Malachi, you ever had any customer supplied experiences like that?
What do you mean with
"Oh, I went to the dealership and got my key cut by Vin. Oh, I just need you to program it."
I'm cutting keys for the local Ford dealership because their key cutter's down. So yeah, I haven't, honestly.
Who's selling keys to local Ford dealers because they can't get keys right?
Really?
Yeah. Killing it, bro.
Yeah, actually, that's kind of been happening to me locally too, is that the dealerships are having a problem with chip shortage, and they can't even supply their own customers car keys.
Yep.
They're strictly OEM, I imagine. They're not pushing Ilco out the door. They're pushing their stuff.
Isn't Stratec manufacturing a lot of I know for Ford, I'm pretty sure Stratec makes the OEM keys.
That's what if I recall properly, like Stratec was pissed off or got sued at one point because they were providing us with OEM transponders, and it was a breach of contract because it was like a direct competition between dealership and us. And so like 7 years ago, there was a big chip or transponder shortage of ID63s.
Bruton's website that Ford uses, a lot of Ford dealers use it. They can't get them. I'm telling you, I think this week I sold 5, and I don't program them. I just take them in, the parts guy, throw them at the parts guys, bam, I'm out the door,
Yeah. A lot of times they call me, and somehow they hook and bait the customer to tow their car to the service department, and they will put it in the back behind a gate, and then they'll call me out to program the keys. And I'm like, why'd you even do that?
See, I don't get that. I get the service department at the local Dodge dealership tells customer for an 07 Dodge, like big Dodge diesel, whatever, 1500, 2500, that on an all keys lost situation, it's going to be $700 and they're going to change the ignition out. So the customer starts shopping around, they find me, and yeah, I'm like, whoa, that's crazy, And then eventually the customer ends up back at the Dodge dealer for something unrelated. And they're like, yo, this guy made the key. Now they just send them usually to me. They're like, hey, the guy at the service department was like, you can take care of this. The Ford dealership doesn't want to do keys that are older than 10 years, I believe.
Yeah,
so
10 years.
That stuff too. A lot of picking or Leashian FO38s, to originate.
I get the
real quick
me for codes too, and I'll charge them $100 and just run the code 98 Ford F-150. They'll say, hey Ben, what's the code? Can you get it for me? Because they can't get it.
What do you charge?
$100. I'll just run the VIN unless I'm right there, and then I'll leash it.
To charge the dealer though, what do you charge the dealer?
If they need a code, let's say they got in a 98 F-150.
Yeah.
If I'm nearby, I'll go by and pick the lot and give them the code. They'll complete the rest of the job, charge them $150. If I'm not around, I'll just run the damn code and get the code through NASTA.
Yeah.
And give it to them. Charge them $100.
Well, do you guys have the same problem with Ford saying they can't get codes after what would they say, 10 years now or 5 years now?
Yeah.
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah. How is it I can get it from anyone on the internet? Like if you just give them a card number, but Ford can't get it.
So I saw a couple disclaimers in 2 different service windows that said that they're unwilling to work on cars that are older than 10 years. I don't know if that's a liability, a parts issue problem, or what it is.
It's a profitability issue because, you're working on old shit.
Yeah, value of the car.
They'd rather move the new stuff like Ford 2022 Ford F-150 headlight is like MSRP $7,200. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas like a 2001 headlight, you can get at a junkyard for $100. So why would they waste?
It's not worth their time then. They don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, they don't want to. They're just like, they can have anything older than that. That's essentially how I understand it.
Makes sense.
Be creative. Charge them.
Yeah.
As long as
I love it. I love it whenever they say they called the dealer first because sometimes the dealer will give them a ridiculous price.
I love when people call Toyota before they call me because our Toyota dealership is gangster, man. They tell people $800 for a remote head key. And at that point, I'm like, hook, line, and sinker, $400, 50% off, buddy.
Now, my
one for going to give you a cheaper price.
2021 Hyundai Palisade with a flip key, no immobilizer, just remote. They were charging $500 is what the bill came out for a spare. Because a lot of times I'll call the dealer up and say, well, "What are you charging?" That's a key that had to be OEM. Couldn't find a off-brand for it. Found a guy on eBay that was selling new OEM keys for like $85. But yeah.
Back to Toyota. My Toyota dealership, if they go to make a key or program a key, they have to have 3 managers sign off on it before they can order anything.
Don't you love bureaucracy? Like that just sounds like such a headache,
And when I go in there and be done in 10 minutes, they're not tying up their checks. They're still getting paid. I'm making money. It's all good.
Yeah.
Right.
Subarus are super profitable here because they charge, I don't know around the country what it is, but I know I called about a 2020, I think it was Outback or something, push to start. I just wanted to know what they would charge. They wanted $2,600 for all keys lost. So I was like, well, I know what to charge my customer.
I love it whenever a customer calls me and mistakenly gives me too much information. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, I called the dealer. The dealer can't do it because my car is stuck in a parking garage and the tow truck can't tow my car out of the parking garage because it's an SUV. And I'm like,
here's why I'm going to charge you.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm just calculating. Like, I have them by the balls,
Or they tell you the dealer's $500. Oh fuck, I'll do it for $400. Be right there.
$400.
Exactly.
And they
a lady with a Corolla not too long ago made the mistake of calling me and telling me that one of my local competitors wanted $600 for all keys lost on her dot system Corolla, and they required she tow it to their shop. I was like, I'll be there in 15 minutes for $300. She's like, okay, sold. It's like, shit, hell yeah, that's the easiest $300 ever. $290. The orange dongle that Jareth told me to buy, and then onboard program the remote. There we go.
So I don't know what it is. And I think I told Jareth about this. In the last week, I've gotten 3 fucking removable Fobic proxy jobs. I had a Grand Cherokee. I have another Grand Cherokee I was just talking to right now.
You talking about push start Fobics?
Yeah, the push start Fobics. I never get those. Never. Like they only made it in the Cherokee for like 3 years, and the Charter.
Chris, what about the Toyota proximity lesson I just taught you?
So I learned. So apparently,
yes, I heard this lesson.
That was the Prius. This one was the 2013 Highlander. So I had to learn the hard way, and thanks to our good friend Mr. Jareth, I get no bitches Garza. I had to learn that you have to program. You have to program the key, and then you have to program the remote separately. I'm spoiled because I got all these other cars where it's like key and fob, no problem. They're together. I got you, fam. I get in Toyota, and it's like, I don't know who the fuck you are. This remote doesn't belong here.
Who builds their own Fobics? I build all mine with OEM cases.
I
put them all together.
I build a lot of mine. But I honestly, the aftermarket ones, I have such good luck with. You know, unless the customer requests OEM, it's just more cost effective locally because we have boneheads running around here that are like, "Oh, I'll do a Fobic, any Fobic, $85."
Yeah, so I have a question about the Fobic.
Refurb those. You can refurb them and put them in. You can find the boards for less than $20.
Yeah,
you know,
probably 4 or 5 years ago, I bought the briefcase from X-Horse that has like a bunch of random assortment of shit.
Yeah.
In there was a Fobic from them.
Yeah.
Had all the buttons on it.
Yes.
Oh, you're talking about the remote pack, right?
Yeah, he's talking about the case with all
it comes
the
in an aluminum briefcase.
There's like 2 Fobics in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can generate that to an ID47 for the Cherokee, believe it or not.
How can you repurchase one of those things? Because I have never seen them sold individually. I've only ever seen them in a briefcase.
Neither have I.
All right, so sorry for tracking Chris's little story.
Now I walked away for a second, real quick. Did Malachi get to answer? Do you warranty your keys? Do you what's your?
I'm just like Ben. You know, if someone calls me 6 months and is like, "Yo, we got an issue here," I am more than willing to drive over there and make sure it's situated.
Okay.
Well, you get there, they're most like taped together, and you're like, "Well, fuck, this is different now." You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's like the inspecting, making sure it wasn't dropped in a cup of coffee or stupid shit like that. But if it's some kind of failure, I'll reimburse. Like I'll get them a new fob.
I was on the phone with Jareth recently about a warranty. The guy called me. He said he wanted an extra key for his Toyota, and then he said, "By the way, you made a key for my CRV, and you know it's not working." And I got there, and it was an integrated system, and I used an X-Horse flip key. And when I go to try to read it, it wouldn't recognize the transponder, so it just flat out wasn't working. But it come to find out, like I went through, I figured out I did the key for the guy 3 years ago. I was like, "Sorry, buddy, I'm not warrantying this one."
I got pissy.
I did a key for a.
Hold on. I got pissy with a really nice little girl who I at first when I programmed her Prius, I thought she was great. I saved her on my phone as 2008 Prius pretty girl because it's how my memory works. The moment she calls, I know who she is. And so she called me like 2 weeks later, and she's like, "That key you sold me just exploded." And I was like, "How the fuck did it explode?" And she's like, "I dropped it." And I was like, The reason I was out there the first time was because she got her key wet, you know? How would you deal with that? 2 weeks after the job, she was pissy too. And I told her, I got defensive. I bit her head off. I was like, if you had approached me and been a little bit more, you know, amenable, open to discussion and not blaming me for you dropping your key, you know, I would be more open to warranty. I was like, but since you've totally attacked me, $300.
I don't think there's a problem with telling someone to fuck off.
Yeah, and so I told her $300 for the next one, and she was like, "Fuck you."
It's okay to make exceptions for exceptional people. It's when someone calls and immediately it's a fucking negative situation. No problem saying sorry. You need to move down the line to someone else. No problems with that. But yeah, like if they call you that way, fuck yeah, tell them to fuck off.
Yeah, and so I told her
if it's like a college student, like, oh, I fucked up my car. You know, I was out. I don't mind doing it for maybe because repeat business is better than no business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I kind of deal with the whole warranty thing on a kind of a case by case basis, especially if it's like if it's a good customer, somebody that's come back to me multiple times, or somebody I remember, you know, maybe, you know, maybe something did happen, you know, because I do sell a lot of aftermarket in my area, but you know,
I wanted to build that analogy.
I try to buy the high quality aftermarket, not the, you know, I don't buy the cheap shit, but you know, it is what it is. And I know kind of what to stay away from. Toyota Smart Keys, I know Jareth has said have gotten better aftermarket. He'll use some. I know some other guys, my buddy Alex, he only uses aftermarket. But when I first started out, it was just a nightmare with aftermarket Toyota keys. And so I got to the point where I only use OEM, whether it's refurbished or brand new. I only use OEM, and if it's OEM and an OEM failed, then yeah, you know, I'll help take care of you if I can see that you didn't abuse the shit out of it, even though I know it's an expensive key.
Here's a question: how do you guys deal with the newbies? The guy down the street thinks you're fucking rich, and he's gonna get rich right along with you, but he calls you every day. How do you mean a
competitor? Well, before that point, I have to say to Eric,
he's not on the same level, so he can't be a competitor.
Oh man, I had a local technician, auto tech, call me up and ask me to come down and bring a business card to him because he wanted to start a relationship, be able to get me some work. So I go down there. He asked me, "Well, what are you using?" My dumbass opens my van up, and I'm like, "Well, I use this, and this." And
next week he's got all the same shit.
3 months later, I don't hear from him for a while. He calls me because he needs me to cut a key. So I go down to do it, and he's got the Autel, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't need you to program." And I'm just like, "Why the fuck?" In my head, I'm not really trying to be a douche to anybody, hardly. But I'm just thinking, why the fuck would you call me and have me hang out here for whatever? Why not just ask me, yo, dude, I'd like to program keys. I feel like if someone wants to learn it, fuck it, go for it, dude.
A couple months ago, I posted on my Facebook, hey, 27 car a day. I'm tired. I'm going home. A buddy of mine stopped me. He said, Ben, you posting that stupid shit on Facebook? I said, what the fuck you mean? He said, that's how you get competition. And I'm like, bro, if anybody wants to go through the tears and sweat that I went through to learn what I had to learn, come on in.
Right.
You know, but now that it's happening, some dude down the street, you know, and he can't compete because he's broke dick and he's buying one key at a time, but he can't figure anything out. You know what I mean?
Fuck him.
And he's calling me every day, and it's like, bro, get out of here.
On the topic.
Yeah.
First of all, Eric, you have a hard-on for OEM because you were a mechanic. I know this for a fact, and I know many mechanics that fucking swear by OEM when it comes to parts because in the mechanic world, OEM shit is fucking ungodly. In the
OEM is usually the best, and I wish I could sell more.
Right, but a remote, an OEM remote, and an aftermarket remote is almost identical except for the fucking badge. Yes, there's some more.
Don't get me wrong, Chris, don't get me wrong. I sell almost all aftermarket shit. Toyota Smart Keys are the small exception I make to where I'm only going OEM based solely on my personal experience dealing with aftermarket Toyota.
You said that when you started, you mostly with OEM. But I think that might just be from your experience as a mechanic, though.
Yeah.
See, and
so when I first started out, for some reason, every motherfucker with a Prius in town called me and I did every single Prius in town spare keys with aftermarket, and every single fucking person was calling me back a week later with problems with the keys. And I could see that it was just it wasn't a problem with them fucking up the keys. Not every single person's messing up a key in a week, but so that's when I just decided, okay, I'm ordering refurbished OEM to replace all these aftermarkets anyway. So I'm just going to use OEM when it comes to Toyota Smart. But Toyota bladed, dude, aftermarket works great. I use that shit all the time. Most of the transponders I use are super chips.
I can't get the aftermarket stuff to work. I have tried. It has kicked my ass. So I'm like an OEM guy. Everybody fucking hears, oh, yeah, fucking OEM. Yeah. That's what I use.
And there's nothing wrong with that. If you can afford it and your customers are willing to pay it and this, that, and the other, then honestly, like I said, if the market were right for me to buy only OEM, I would only go OEM on everything. But I do get, sometimes we run into those lots you see, $500-$600 for a shitload of OEM keys, and they need to be refurbished. I do buy those sometimes, and I refurbish them myself. And then I got a bunch of OEMs I know I'm not going to really have issues with. But again, you do enough of them aftermarket, you kind of weed out like which aftermarket is good, which is not. And I'll be the first one to say, personally, I prefer between our big vendors. Even though I work closely with UHS and we teach for them and stuff, honestly, my favorite aftermarket has been the international brand Keyless to Go. That I've had the least amount of trouble with those aftermarket keys. But it is what it is. You figure out what works for you, and you just kind of move from there.
Bringing the whole thing back to the original. The thing we're talking about with the competition and helping the new guys working out, back to the point I made about how I have such a qualm with the scammers and the people trying to work in the low that are legitimate. How many times do these little pop-up lockout guys pop up? They used to work for scammers. How many of these do you guys see in your areas? We get 2 or 3 a year, then they fizzle out again. These guys were making 20% commission popping houses and cars for the fucking call centers. They figured, well, I can do something on my own. They make a website. They put a fucking listing up. They start buying their own reviews. Next thing, you got more competition from another fucking scammer. And it's a cancer we want to get rid of entirely in the industry, obviously. But I agree with you guys. If someone wants to put the fucking dedication in, they want to be out there till 3 o'clock in the morning going out and unlocking cars. They want to be out there fucking disassembling ignition columns in the fucking summer. Fucking let them in. They paid their due at that point.
I'm kind of so I took Jarrett's advice, and I've, with the exception of 2 dickheads in town, I've made friends with all the competition in town, and by doing so, we're able to, even though we're technically competitors, we're able to keep our prices where we want them and unite. You know what I mean? So, if I get busy with something, I can call one of my competitors and say, hey, I got a customer. Can you go deal with this? And they'll do the same for me. I get tons of referrals from another locksmith in town. And I don't do commercial and residential because it just doesn't have an interest to me. I like automotive. So I got a guy in town who sends me tons of automotive work. I send him every single commercial and residential call that I get.
Now, let me jump in. That's what I did locally is whenever I started, I was the new guy. So I reached out to all of my competitors, introduced myself, and I said, look, I want to focus on car keys. If I get residential jobs I don't want or commercial, I'll pass them your way. And a lot of my competitors are old dudes, so it was advantageous to me because they can't keep up with transponder programming. So we would trade jobs, and that's how we built a relationship. And if I found out that they were not helping me, then I would no longer help them. That's kind of how I operate. You're cutting out, Ben.
You're cutting in and out.
Service sucks here. So I had a competitor that I saw at a hotel the other day trying to pop a Pete door on a semi. He was there 25 minutes, man. He couldn't get the door open. So I was like, hey, dude, you need some help? And he lost his shit, bro. Get the fuck out of here. I called his mom a cunt like 4 years ago because she was dogging me in this, and it's like, whatever, move on down the road. We'll never get along.
Yeah, and I mean, you're gonna end up with some people like that. Like, there's a guy in my town. I won't. I'm sure he's not watching, but I'm not gonna throw his name out there. But me and him will never get along ever. And he's one of those people that is. You can tell he just feels entitled just because of who he is. I got a call out to a BMW. It was what the fuck was it? It was a bladed ignition. I think it was cast 2 bladed ignition. So it was a 5 series OBD programming. Pick the lock. Blah 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 blah. He's one of those guys that, hello, locksmith, yeah, okay, and he asks for an address and he won't call you back. And this, that, and the other. So that's what happened. He never called the guy back. He never confirmed anything. So the guy started shopping around. He found me. I get there. The customer's getting ready to pay me, and the other locksmith shows up. And he's like, well, who are you? What are you doing here? And I'm like, I made a key to this BMW. What the fuck are you doing here? He's like, I'm here to make a key to this same car. And then he's like, where's the customer? I was like, I don't know. He went inside for a minute to grab his shit or something. And like, the guy was a total asshole. He dips his head under the guy's half-closed garage door, walks through his garage. He's looking around and asks, hey, where you at? Blah, blah. And he gets in the guy's face and, man, you should have fucking called me and blah, blah, blah. And the guy's like, hey, look, bro, like, I told this guy I called someone else and you didn't call me back. So, but ever since then, the guy's had, complete animosity with me. And, I've come back and cleaned up jobs behind him. Clearly, you can tell he doesn't know auto very well. He's gone out to cars. I remember
here's a better question. You don't have these issues with.
He reset the immobilizer and I got to the car and the fucking security light was solid. I was like, okay, put an H in there, circled it 5 times, and we're done.
All right. So what, Chris?
What I'm saying is we all see where the market's been going for a while. We have 3rd, 4th, 5th party aggregators of calls. We have between KeyMe, MiniKey, the kiosk, the fucking Car Keys Express, all of them. What do you guys do as people that are exclusively almost automotive? I know that you guys obviously do more than that, but from my understanding, you guys are much, much, much better automotive than I am. And some of you guys would prefer it. Like Ben, that's what he fucking likes to do. Eric likes to do. All you guys like to do fucking cars.
That's all I do.
What happens when you have a big? What do you do when you have fucking 5 big ass fish chomping into your market? They're not slowing down. Key Innovations isn't fucking afraid to probably put vans on.
Let Malachi talk.
So on-site tech stuff. So I think the locksmithing industry it grew since keys have been digitized. Whether it's digital locks for residential, commercial, programmable transponder keys, and then you have security cameras also. All that stuff, you need a technician to show up on the spot. Also with automotive locksmithing, we're now like getting to a spot where we're borderline like programming modules, parameter resets because of ECU or PCM clones, that type of stuff. Being able to a human with their feet on the ground to be able to go and do that stuff is where it's at. Our technology isn't advanced enough to be robotically cloning PCMs, sending them out with instructions for somebody, or to have a technician in every location. So I think the locksmith is going to have to like branch out and continue to be like extremely vigilant when it comes to the newest programmers and software that we need, because we're chasing the technology of the newest cars that are out there. And I talked to Jareth about this. I don't need to be the first guy to hold the trophy that was like, I programmed a key to this car. But I will wait until it's done comfortably. And then I'll know that I can profit off of it. Until then, it's liability, and it's useless for me to want to jump into something I know I might have to call an insurance company about.
I told Malachi a quote by Warren Buffett. Everybody wants to be first to be second. So the people who are breaking into that new technology are at risk of bricking a car due to a mistake. Whereas if we sit back and wait just a little while, we can observe their errors and stuff and learn from them and become proficient at programming where they failed. Obviously, they're going to be first to finish the race, but their race is a lot harder than ours. So whenever it comes to new systems and stuff like that, I'm first to be second, not first to be first. You know what I mean?
So I think we're going to have more module failures with cars alongside of the road. And if we can figure out a way that we can get our foot in the door as a locksmith to companies, I have a towing company too. I have a rollback. Companies like Agiro, Swoop, Allstate, all these insurance companies, when I need to do a tow job, they ask me what the quote is, and then they give me all the specs on the job, and then they give me credit card info. So with being a locksmith, fixing like a module or something on the spot, I feel like there would be one price to go and assess the situation. If it could be fixed, it's just like calling, if you're doing a job for a security source or whatever, you call for an NTE. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be able to do that stuff on the spot, I think really. So your catalog of stuff that you need are probably spares for PCMs and shit like that. Or if you're going to get in depth enough that you're going to be soldering to circuit boards and replacing components and stuff, I think that's borderline where we're at, where the key isn't physical really anymore. It's a lot of times it's fading off into data that's stored somewhere.
It's a digital string of information that is lost within the car. And Eric is actually the one who I know is like branching into that shit, like chasing data through modules and stuff. Eric, what have you got?
I was going to say, to answer, like, to kind of more answer Chris's question too, is the way you deal with, you know, these fuckheads is to sell yourself, you know, market yourself, tell them why you're better than Car Keys Express, tell them why you're better than the fucking scammer that Kimi's going to send out there, and then go out there and do it and show them. Because the average knucklehead for Car Keys Express and Kimi and this, that, and the other, even the most simplest of BMW jobs that we taught you and Mercedes jobs that are OBD, those guys aren't going to do. They're going to walk the fuck away, and they're not going to know what to do. Even the old school Volkswagens, the Emo 3 cars that require nothing more than reading a pin code through OBD and programming just an unformatted ID48 to those cars, they're going to walk away from. And if you can show any one of your customers, your dealers, your clients, big customers, whatever it is, that you can do those, like that, it doesn't even, at that point, it doesn't even matter. Like Car Keys Express is going to come in and do. Car Keys Express is going to come in and do the Fobic for $85. I'm going to do it for $150, but they're going to pay me that $150 because they know when they need that BMW done, I'm going to show up and do it. Where they're going to have to wait for Car Keys Express or whatever these other companies are. You know, I'm just throwing them.
You guys don't worry about these little fucking fuckheads coming in and grabbing these little fucking.
No, really, I don't. And honestly, Chris, honestly, the customer that's only our dealership sells the Fobics for $300. Okay, right. $300 is the cost of the Fobic, and then they charge you like another $150 or something to program it.
Right.
So it's like,
well, I'm not talking about.
If you're not willing to pay my $150, I don't want you as a customer anyway. You know what I mean? They're going to go with the guy that's charging $75 for a Fobic. I don't even want it.
Is normal. Yeah. I'm talking about in the next 10 years. Do you see the automotive locksmith market transforming to be an ecosystem that completely works with Car Keys Express, Tom's Keys, Kimi? Do you guys think that these are just going to be trends that die?
Because guys like me, guys like Jared, guys like Malachi, Ben, and I'm telling you, we're going to get you there yourself. We're going to be the guys that stand out, that can do. We're going to be the guys that go, okay, you got a 65 Mustang you lost your keys to, no problem. You got a 2025 Mustang you lost your keys to, no problem. We can do that whole range. Oh, guess what? You replaced the BCM in your fucking Ford Transit, no problem. I'm there. I'm going to reset the parameter using my freaking laptop, and we're good to go. But you know, those
guys like hear what my boy Malachi. Which way is it? It's reverse. There you go. I'll hear my boy Malachi has to say.
So I feel like if you look at the Tesla, the model that car is operating on, I think it was way too successful for other car manufacturers not to start copying it. So I think we're going to be finding that your cell phone is going to be your key, because your cell phone has become everything. It's your fucking notepad, your bank. It's how you're emailing people and calling people and texting them. You know what I mean? Your cell phone has become this like crazy utility toolbox.
I think there's going to be a regression.
I honestly, I think that your phone is going to have something to do with it, but it's going to be some kind of software that's communicating from your phone to whatever specific dealer that you're driving in. So that now we're, like what Jared said, we're going to be searching for data and trying to figure out security keys and dealing with encrypted data, that type of thing.
Calculations.
Well, 10 years.
I'm drop this on you guys. Quantum encryption.
You mean being able to
Crazy like aliens.
Yeah. Aliens.
What do
you guys think?
Do you think they're going to be here in the cars? Like UFOs? Can you program? Like,
you know what I mean? Quantum technology is like this fucking close to being made commercially available. There's already colleges are tampering with it. What I'm saying is, imagine what's going to happen when your house key has a transponder and a fucking 20-year battery inside of it for deadbolts.
Chris? Yeah, Medico has the what's the Medico system?
Click.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, the biggest thing is every one of us that are in this, and most of us, I think everybody's self-employed here, is we have to stay up on top of our game, on top of everybody else. That's why we're learning all the new things, keeping up with it. Jared said, be number second. Don't be number one. Right. And that's what we have to do. We're not just going to stay simple on, the old guys in the locksmith world, they didn't want to go to transponders. They didn't want to learn these proximity keys. They're still cutting house keys for $3. Yeah. That's not where I want to be. And so as long as we keep learning and communicating and teaching each other, we're going somewhere. We're going to keep up. That's all I wanted to say.
I'll start worrying. I will start worrying when I stop seeing 1960s fucking visors all over the place, because people do not just upgrade hardware like they do fucking rims on cars. People wait till that shit dies.
No shit.
Working. I'm just saying, no one's like, oh, the newest Schlage model came out, let's go get it. No, they don't do that. No one's doing that shit.
Bob DeWeese, a safe guru.
Yeah, he's an old school G.
Man, I don't know that guy, from anybody except from what I've seen on Facebook, but I watch smart people, and he once said to somebody who was stretching themselves too thin, they were like, oh, I don't have the time and resources. I need employees, blah, 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 blah. And Bob was like, specialize and capitalize. And that changed my entire outlook on the business. If I become more specialized than my competitors, I'm always relevant. If I can do Mercedes, Volkswagen, E-Prom, etc., I'm always in the market, no matter what. So it just goes to show, like, the more you become specialized, the more you're always maintaining your relevancy, because there's those people who like the low-hanging fruit that we're talking about, and they're easy to replace, Those are our employees. Those are who we're going to pick up whenever the businesses fail.
Yeah.
I think Tom's Keys and Car Keys Express, I think they're going to fail. That's what I think. I don't think they're going to be around forever.
Yeah.
I feel like car keys are going to regress a little bit before they advance, because with all the problems that they're having with, Chryslers and this, that, and the other, just all the proximity cars that are just getting stolen so easily just by sniffing data out of the air. I honestly feel like at some point they're going to regress. It's going to go back to a bladed ignition with a transponder, maybe a more encrypted transponder, maybe harder to program or something. But I feel like at some point they're going to kind of go backwards before they go forward.
I think there's going to be 3D printed keys.
I think everything is going to go phone, smartphone, and
I think you're right, Ben, actually. I think you are. I think it'll all be app-based, biometric, getting your fingerprint, retina, some kind of communication to where they can turn your car off if you don't pay the bill. So
I can start
honestly,
my.
I think that's what it is.
I mean, they can kind of already do that with shit like OnStar.
No,
Yeah.
it's going to be more integrated.
There's
It's gonna-
a
As long as your
there's
phone's
a
in the
company
car.
from Vietnam that makes electric vehicles.
Go ahead,
You guys
Ben.
know what I'm talking about? Have you ever heard of this company before?
What is it,
What?
Chris?
Repeat yourself, Chris.
No, good.
No, repeat what you said, Chris.
I
'cause
said
we
there was
didn't
a
hear you.
company from Vietnam. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, now we can.
Can you? There is a company in Vietnam that makes electric cars that are being sold or about to be sold in the United States, where you do not buy the car, you lease it. You cannot buy the car. You get X amount of miles, just like cell phones used to be 20 years ago, where you can buy a 200-mile package, you can buy an unlimited mile package, you can buy per mile package, but you do not own the vehicle outright. You cannot buy batteries for it. You cannot do anything like that. And that's the model that they expect a lot of electric vehicles to be, because they're mandating electric vehicles in most states and countries by a certain point in the next 10, 20 years, right? So they're trying to get ahead of that by finding a way to funnel this money back into electric car companies.
Everything what we do today is on our phones. I bought an all-in-one washer and dryer. I can start my washer from Dallas right where I'm at right now. If they had an app, I can start it. I can tell it, oh, extra dry, another 10 minutes.
Yeah, I've been setting those smart home hubs up, converting, running Cat 6 Ethernet. You know what I mean? Turning houses into smart homes. We have cabins and stuff out here. A lot of Airbnb rentals out in Pennsylvania Grand Canyon. But it lists on the one that I've been using. Use Samsung Smart Things app.
The Z-Wave.
Yeah, well, Z-Wave. I think it used to be Zigbee. Now it's Z-Wave, and then there's one other one. But on the app, it lists all the smart devices that you can use, and we're talking like light bulbs, cameras, locks. There's a ton of stuff. Your washer, your dryer, your refrigerator, and then with that, I think it starts going into like building automation, where you have a specific schedule that your house is on. Your temperature gets set at this for this amount of time.
I want to interrupt you real quick. I was telling Chris Hufstetler maybe a month ago, I was like, the future is going to be the house that you walk out of. You don't touch anything. The door opens for you. It unlocks. It opens. The lights turn off and off, on and off as you go by. And then we're going to have remotes for our house. And he was like, what the remotes? We already have stuff. I'm like, no. You're going to walk out to the curb and be like, and your house is going to go whoop, whoop, and arm itself like a car. I believe it's 100%. Go ahead.
Almost like Rick and Morty.
I was
listen, the phone is technically this is Gen 1 cyborg technology. This identifies you. If you, in a forensic case, like they're going to dissect your phone, and that's going to tell everybody in the jury who you are. And so this is like a fingerprint now, okay? And it's access to your fingerprint, your eyeball, everything. So like you're going to wear this like a proximity key. And as you walk up to your house, the automation is going to detect you and take over. You know what I mean?
So thing about cars and phones, I have a buddy that works for the KBI here in Kansas where I live. And they busted a guy driving down the highway that had skimmers. Well, he was going to go to jail. So the guy sat in the front seat and busted his phones. He did not want the KBI to get his phones. They took his car, hooked it up, and downloaded everything from his phone because he plugged his phone into his car. The car kept all the information.
Bam, bitch.
I was out in Vegas. Self-driving cars. Lyft has them, bro. Ordered it on my app. They showed up. Hold my phone up. Opened the door with my phone. Got in. It fucking took me where I wanted to go. No driver.
Well, what I was going to in that regard is, Malachi, have you seen any of that new technology coming about where the automation factor is like, it's almost mind-blowing whenever you really start to look into the smart home automation. I think there's a huge market.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not really like, I'm by no means am I deep into that, but as far as locks and running internet lines are concerned with it, that's about all I know. But yeah, I feel like that is going to be massive, and that is a huge way to capitalize if you're into that part of like where security goes. Because yeah.
Chris, do you do anything like that? Any access control?
No, I
like
don't, unfortunately. And here's the thing is, when I first started this, I had a lot of tech experience. I fucking code my own page for the most part. I do my own fucking Raspberry Pis. As you guys can see, I got all the.
I love how Chris is like, I fucking did this and I fucking did that.
Back here, like I'm not.
I'll never be able to monetize this stream.
Shut the fuck up, Jared. Listen. No, you're not. I'm gonna make sure that you bring your Hello Kitty fucking cup of tea over there.
Oh, you love me.
Listen, so.
Would you like a cup of tea?
I know enough about technology. I know enough about. I was almost Cisco Network certified. I was going for A+ Microsoft. I did so well at the rekeying marketing portion of my business. I do 4 to 5 houses a day, and I'll pick up a couple lockouts here and a couple house keys here and there. I am fucking full right now until like Friday for next week, and I'm literally writing an invoice for a fucking house I went to before I came to this live stream. It's not that I want to. It's not that I shouldn't. I just haven't needed to. I understand networking. I understand the automation, but I don't like using Airbnb as an example because they're definitely winding down on their business. They're dropping markets everywhere. But automation is going to make things a lot different. And biometric is going to be, I think, a big thing to happen because it's been okay for a while, but it's getting better. How many of these cheap Chinese locks have fucking biometric that barely works, or the padlocks where you just yank on them and they fucking fall apart and they have a thumbprint on it?
Well, that goes into my point that I believe like the integration of this technology is going to afford us a lot of opportunities as soon as we open ourselves up to it. Most of us are closed off.
I think the word we're looking for is a renaissance because we've already had it with transponders at one point. And now it's automatic locks. Now we got programmable fucking smartphones. Now what's gonna happen when your car's dead and your fucking Tesla doesn't open up? What are you gonna do? You gonna fucking slam your phone against it? Like there's still a need for us out there. It's gonna be all the time.
There was like an automotive renaissance.
Open that bitch.
There's like automotive renaissance with transponders, access control with RFID, motion, and all that RFID, infrared. And then now it's up. Its homes are going to be catching up. You know what I mean?
You said something about the clicker, the house with the clicker. They do already make those. I think Honeywell makes them.
This is a metaphor because I'm putting that image into your head, right? So I mean, it could be an app. It can be anything. It can be the moment you walk away from a proximity umbrella, like you're 30 feet away from your house and you drive away. Your house could go boop boop and engage. Just something like that. You know what I mean? I believe that the locksmith of the future is going to have to not only originate house keys, but program them, just like a car.
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, my buddy lives on a good friend of mine. He lives on base in, well, I won't say where he lives, but he lives on an army base, and I've been to his house. And every single key in his house is just this little round cylinder. There's no bitting. It's just a round cylinder. You put it in there and you turn it, and it reads a little RFID chip, and it unlocks his doors. And if one of those locks dies, guess what? They got to call the maintenance people on base, and somebody's got to come out and change the batteries. And, what they're doing to get in the house, I don't know. How they're getting in the house, honestly, don't ask me.
Speaking of that system, Flipper Zero came out, and I think Flipper Zero can hack it.
Probably.
What's up, dog?
That's why I think at some point there's going to be a regression back to a mechanical lock because it's going to be harder. I think at some point it's going to be a little even in a house. Maybe it might end up being like a car where you put a mechanical key in there, but it's got to read an RFID in order to actually engage that lock.
Look at Ben over here. This motherfucker.
Oh my goodness!
Look at him! Look at him!
I got him crashed out.
I got about 2 minutes left. My phone's about to die.
Well, let's go ahead and say bye to you while we can, Ben.
Hey, it was good chatting with you guys. I will see you guys later.
Likewise.
Yeah, man. Nice to meet you, dude.
That dude's going.
Yep, you too. Add me on Facebook.
Dude.
Come to our Locksmith Go.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
come to our group, Locksmith Go, if you're not already a member. So
Make sure you don't answer the questions.
yeah, if you don't answer the questions, we will not admit you, even if I know you. It's a rule. So answer the damn questions. All right.
Bye, guys.
When you answer the questions, just tell Jareth to fuck off. Say fuck off, Jareth. And
There you go.
Hey, that'd be effective.
Oh, you should.
Oh, look, his phone died.
On the thing with automation and the thing with cars, and I think that the technology and people inherently are not very smart unless they are in the field. A mechanics can understand how things work mechanically. A locksmith understands. The point I'm making is that if you work at McDonald's and your key stops working on your fucking house and you don't know any better, you're gonna start doing some stupid shit with it. People do not understand the intricacies of the technology that they're being adapted to just yet. Maybe the next generation, but right now, but we've all seen people do some stupid ass shit. I don't think anyone out there is ready for automated homes or biometric locks or fucking RFID.
I agree because I mean I can't tell you how many times a customer will call me with a proximity equipped car and the battery's dead and they can't figure out how to get into their car, and I'm like, pull the fucking E-blade out of your key. I don't have a lock. There's no lock on my car anywhere. How do I,
So maybe we won't be doing as many unlocks, but we'll be doing biometric reprogramming. Oh, I don't understand how to reset this lock because the last tenant, they can come in and unlock it with their fingerprint. We're not going to be rekeying. We'll be reprogramming more houses. We're not going to be doing more car keys. We'll be doing more diagnostic issues because, hey, this $3,000 fucking remote got wet. I don't know what to do with it. Okay, well, maybe we can take it apart and fix it.
Do you know how many times I have to enlarge a hole on a door because the customer doesn't know how to make a hole in the door bigger?
Are you talking about like taking like a B560 or a smaller one and then moving it to like a 2 1/8 actual normal size one?
Like say someone has an antique door and it's a Dexter.
Yeah.
And I have to expand the hole. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just a simple thing like that. And also, like, how long have locks and keys been in existence? Malachi, before you were a locksmith, did you know that there were pins inside of a lock?
No.
Me neither. So it's like all these times that I'm out rekeying something and the customer's like, oh, yeah, you got done so quickly. Half the time, whenever they see the shit in my hands, they're like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a huge knowledge gap between, I guess, our customer base and us,
Yeah.
And that's our job, is to maintain that gap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fuck it, there it go.
Yeah. Every time I have my Dolphin in the back of the van, as soon as I fire that thing up and it just starts going beep, 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 calibrating itself and shit, people are like, holy fuck, dude. What?
Yeah.
What
especially dudes. I love it whenever the dudes crowd around and they watch it and they're like, oh, do you see what it? Oh, and I'm like, yeah. My favorite thing to do is show customers whenever I'm building transponder keys, especially like 4C transponders, the glass ones, because they look pretty. I love to show those to my customer, like in the sunlight, because they glisten with copper. Like there's a coil and it's glass, and they're like, "What the fuck is that?" I'm like, "Oh, that's just that simple key that you wanted me to cut for you."
Yeah. So this is a question that I wanted to ask a room full of locksmiths. I never had the chance. Is there a laser cut machine that can duplicate, like, just say you had a massive batch of single-sided Schlage keys for whatever, 100 keys for local university? Is there a automated key cutter that can cut them as fast as you could on a manual, like, Bellini?
Blue punch machine. Blue punch machine is the quickest.
Blue punch.
I was going to say call Schlage.
Yep. Without a doubt. I mean, there's the ITL 950C. They produce a robot that's semi-automatic. You input, your space and depth, your system, like, Schlage. you'll type in the IC card number, and you'll have to put a key carriage into the vise, which is super gay. But once you put a blank in, you scroll. All you do is scroll a wheel on the side, and it'll and cut it. You eject it, put your key in, re-scroll it, scroll again. It's semi-automated, and it's super fast. But for the money, Chris has shown and proven that the blue punch machine is undeniably fast and cheap.
Don't you manually set every cut as you punch it?
You do. You have a slide and it goes back and forth.
You can play it like a trumpet,
0 to 9.
Or a trombone.
That's basically it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Since I do so much residential, I'm knocking out a key in 7 seconds.
So
that is like
Chris is all like, Chris looks like he's over here playing the violin. He's like,
so that's with duplication. That's like your fastest.
That is for
like
mass keys by code. Now for duplication, my best machine is an oldie. It's the fuck your right hand. It's the Curtis 2K.
That's what I was gonna say. Wouldn't the right hand duplicate faster than you would punch them on a blue?
I almost submitted a video to compete with Chris where I code cut a key on my right hand punch machine, which is slower, and then throw it into a right hand duplicator, but it's cheating because he's code cutting every key, whereas I'd be duplicating. So
the Curtis 2K.
Well, Malachi's asking about duplicating, right?
Yeah. I'm talking about duplicating now. But you can duplicate.
So what's the fastest way to duplicate?
If you're doing it by code, if you're doing 100 keys, I would prefer to do a blue punch because I can do it faster. But
that's the line. If you're duplicating by code and it's something like Schlag, then it's the blue punch.
Yes.
If you're duplicating, then a right hand.
You have a punch for like a Y or a Yale key or something, right?
Yeah. So
I use my Curtis 2K because it's an semi-automatic duplicator. You have to have obviously something in the carriage, and then you pull the handle, and it has like a worm drive where it goes in there and has the thing automatically rolls over the key and it cuts it while you're doing it. You push handle back up, one out, one back in. But that's an old machine and it's fucking ancient and it weighs like 1,000 pounds. There's better stuff out there.
Yeah, there's semi-automatic machines, which is what I use. I think
I like my right hand, the one that I bought that you sent me the link to.
You guys ever you know what I'm referring to for like manual duplicator, a Bellini?
I've never heard of it. It sounds
like an old Italian key cutter. I've looked for one of these. It's got long handle on it. I know you can't really see. Less than a foot. Ball knob on it. But yeah, I was curious because originating and duplicating. I have an HPC. Bellini, Bolini. Pretty sure they don't make them anymore.
Locksmith Jeremy is talking about the Code Max. That's what he's talking about.
Oh.
Yeah. So the Bellini I've never heard of. It sounds like
I found one right now. It's $180. Oh, maybe it's already gone. Never mind. But yeah, no, it looks like. Oh, damn. Okay.
So when I was apprenticing, this is what he had. 2 of these. He had one in the van and one in the shop, and we were mass cutting keys for the local. There was 3 colleges in that town, and I just remember having to originate like whole floors worth of dorm rooms and then duplicate, and that's like the fastest thing I've had to duplicate keys with.
Of course, Paul has a Bellini.
I was just about to say
what the hell does Paul not have?
It's the original Bravo.
Yeah. I was about to say that. It being Italian, it sounded like something that Silca probably absorbed. Silca, they have a large catalog of machines, and the Bravo 1 is 30 years old. You know what I mean? And before that, there was some other company. So a Bellini is probably just as good as a Silca Bravo,
Yeah.
I had an old German machine called a Borkey.
Okay.
And it was built like a tank. I called it the Panzer. It literally looked like it came out of a tank factory. And, it was a semi-automatic. It had a lever that would drive, the carriage. Yeah. And it was too big to be mobile. I think it weighed like 65 pounds. You know what I mean?
Damn.
So I imagine your Bellini's probably pretty fucking heavy too.
Honestly, it wasn't that bad.
Really?
It actually weighed less than my, I don't even know what the model number, but the old Ilco Unican thing with the plastic orange cover on it. It was like the size of
A little bigger than a shoebox.
Yeah, a little bit bigger than a shoebox. Not super not as much a rectangle as it is a square.
Yeah.
So Adam just asked us he's asked us a couple questions we haven't got to yet. How many years experience do we have as locksmiths? And he just asked if we're mainly auto. I am only auto, and I have 3 years.
He's just a baby.
Yeah.
Just a wee baby.
Who called me the other day.
Right. I have 10 years, and I do everything I want to do. If there's a safe that I want to drill, I'll drill it. But mostly I do automotive. Chris, how long have you been in?
10 years, give or take, roughly.
And you primarily do?
I'm huge residential. I'm not talking about just changing out quick sets. I do 100-year-old lock restorations on mortises. I hand chisel all that stuff in. I do like jumbo cylinders, like for the fucking old, like have you ever seen them before? They're like 1-inch size mortise cylinders. Are huge, like in diameter, face diameter.
I have some actually. Actually, I think I have one. Keep talking.
I think they call the master rings, whatever. I do a lot of fine.
Look,
you got one?
I have a best small format interchangeable one. It's actually a rare antique, and it's a jumbo. So,
I swear to God, you're gonna pull your ass out on us for something weird like that.
I had to have a local machine shop make me rings
for it.
I had him make me rings for the normal size mortise cylinder so that I could convert it.
Original box.
Ooh, I actually have some of those rings left over.
I got a lock from a. I'll bring it next time. Okay, next time when this is planned, I'll bring you guys the goofiest fucking supposedly new age lock that they made in the 60s. I got it some Goodwill that you guys would fucking be baffled about. But anyways, I'm mostly residential. I do a shit ton of property work for property companies, banks, and realtors and stuff like that. That is my main clientele. I do this week I've done like 8 cars. That's the most cars I've done all year. That's just to tell you guys how little automotive I do. But I am equipped for some decent automotive. I'm not doing everything yet.
What about you, Malachi?
12 years total. But key automotive. Well, I knew the mechanical stuff then when I started, but programming car keys, probably only 4.5, maybe 5 years, 4. So somewhere
I have the least experience.
What?
I said I have the least experience.
You're just a wee baby.
Gentlemen, I'm going to go. I have to get going. It's almost 11 here.
Yep. Actually, I think this would probably be a good place to conclude our podcast because we are at 3 hours and 10 minutes, gentlemen.
Yeah, it's almost 2 a.m. here.
Yeah, good Lord.
2 a.m. here too.
Yeah. What time is it? Almost 1 a.m. here. Jesus. All right. Well, everybody who attended and commented and interacted and whatever, we appreciate it. I'm Jareth. This is Eric. That's Chris. And that is Malachi. Thank you again for being with us on our Locksmith Late broadcast. And we'll probably see you again next Saturday. Y'all say goodbye, okay?
Yeah. Nice to meet you guys.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.
All right. Bye.